Hello everyone, welcome live to 3Wide TV, tonight's broadcast of the NSRA Simbox Truck Series here on 3Wide TV. I gotta say, tonight it is a beautiful night for the penultimate round of the 2020-2021 Simbox Truck Series. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth here tonight is none other than Drew Eisenman. And Drew, we only got one race left after tonight, but first off we have to figure out who's gonna win out in the desert.
Yeah, and based on qualifying times, it's going to be anybody's race to win. Andrew Himmelman right now sitting on the pole. Only about 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Chris Darling only 0.001 seconds behind him. He is your provisional outside pole sitter. And then really, I mean, just about a tenth separating first all the way down to 10th. So a really close field here at ISM Raceway, and you have that huge runoff there kind of on the former backstretch, not as much backstretch anymore. So a ton of options for these guys, and it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, here we are in the qualifying session already. And folks, we're trying something a little bit different this week with the audio. So if something's a little bit off, make sure you let us know. We'd definitely be curious to know if something isn't quite right, but hopefully this will allow us to do some things in the future that we haven't done here in the NSRA Simbox Truck Series, maybe for next season. So that is going to be really fun and exciting. So just let us know how the audio is here tonight as the night goes on. Tana Himmelman saying it sounds good to me, and that's good news. Hopefully it stays that way. Ben Izenga saying, hi Peter and Drew, Dirt Dogger 93, as a fellow TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series admin, gotta say let's go Jason Freeman. We also got Josh Sobel in the chat here tonight saying S2R to the front, time to get it boys. As well, Adam Dama in the chat, great to have you in here Adam. The Windsors, King Crop VODs, Stay Tuned Sports, always in the chat as well. But as you can see, Andrew Himmelman, Drew, in the number 8 machine. We saw him fast last week, but he's atop the leaderboard again here tonight in qualifying, looking to pick up his second consecutive pole in the series.
Yeah, that number change working well for now. The former number 4, now number 8, maybe twice as nice as our Andrew Himmelman's results as of late. So yeah, he will absolutely be starting on our pole. And yeah, here we go. Race driver starting to grid for the race, and we are going to get going here at ISM just before too long.
Yeah, let's bring up the pole award right there. Sim Racing Shirts pole award does go to the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman. We'll go through that starting lineup for you. And folks, we were really concerned prior to the start of the race because we didn't have any graphics. That's one of the reasons we started so late. I had to uninstall and reinstall the program, and just magically it worked when we moved over to qualifying. It just would not work when we were in the practice session. Hadn't seen that before, but luckily we have the graphics, and you can see quite happily Andrew Himmelman starting on the pole there. Chris Darling ran an equivalent lap time, at least for the first 3 digits there after the 27-second mark. So Chris Darling will be starting on the outside of row number 1. On row number 2 on the inside, that'd be Mitchell Adams and Ben Izenga. Row number 3, David Harvey, Jason Freeman. On row number 4, that'd be James Orello, Jamar Dumas, JT Poole, Nathan Maurer round out your top 10 there, Drew.
Yeah, Peter, if you could just real quick, a little inside baseball, if you could just share your screen with me on Skype, that'd be great, so I can see what we're seeing. But yeah, no worries there, folks. Little inside baseball. Just got to make sure I can see what our viewers are seeing. So Jason Gracias will be rolling off in the 11th position. Philip Scott in that 44 will be rolling off in 12th. Paul Bilson in the number 51 will roll off 13th, and to his outside will be that 24, Ben Mashburn. Travis White in that 23 will be rolling off in 15th position, with Justin White in that number 2 to his outside. Colin Oolery will be starting 17th, Doug Milner 18th. Robert Dudley in that 15 truck in 19th, and rounding out our top 20, hopefully, computer issues aside, that 84 TJ Buck's able to start inside that top 20.
Yeah, and hopefully everything is going to be good for him. On row number 11, we got Bill Edwards in the 50, Stephen Doziak, Jeffrey Johnson Jr., Ben Adams there in the number 5 machine, Doug Neal, Garrett Gleason, and Matt Vanderkoy rounding out your 27 cars here tonight. And should be a fun one as you see that iRacing pace car just now rolling off here onto what is now the front stretch here at this racetrack. It's a very strange racetrack, all things considered. It does have the dog leg on the back stretch, and I'm sure we'll see that in action here tonight.
It's such a shorter way around, especially when you don't have a full momentum on these trucks. I think it's kind of hard to make it work. You really just kind of scrub speed, especially on more worn tires, when the thing just won't kind of react the way that you want it to. It's not quite as perky in its ability to change direction really quickly like you need to get all the way down at kind of the bottom of that the pavement of that dog leg. But definitely on restarts, like we've seen in the truck series in real life, it can absolutely work for these guys as the pace car pulls off. Green flag is out, and Drew Himmelman will lead them to the green flag. A great start by that number 8 with the 47. I love that pink and blue number 47 truck to his outside. Okay, restart for that 47, or I guess start, not restart, as now the 47 carrying a little bit of momentum on the high lane, looking to get back to the outside of that 8, not going to be able to make it work. Here comes Mitchell Adams. And Mitchell Adams making that bottom lane work. I apologize if I'm talking over you, Peter. I can't quite hear you, so I'm just going to keep talking until I hear you talk. So the number 8 of Drew Himmelman continuing to lead, just inched out a little bit of lead over that number 49 when Mitchell Adams and 47 were racing side by side. Here comes that 07 of Ben Izenga. We've seen so much speed from him through the last few weeks, and we're seeing that once again from that Moroso number 07. As the field's starting to kind of wide it out. And we got you, Pete?
Yeah, I'm finally back. I hope so. Let me know in the chat if I'm back or not. But just getting a few gremlins worked out here, folks. I think we finally got everything sorted out here as we watch this battle now between Chris Darling and the 07 of Ben Izenga. And Izenga there on the high line, working his way through turn number 3 and 4. And, of course, we got Jason Freeman there running in 5th in the number 20 machine. James Orello back behind him, but this is the best battle that I'm seeing right now up towards the front of the field. Look at the number 20, of course, one of the Camping World cars. We're going to see a lot of Camping World vehicles in iRacing here over the next couple of weeks or so, flashing his way down there through the dog leg. And a good job by Jason Freeman. And Drew, I thought Freeman might have been going back to victory lane last week at Auto Club, but it wasn't meant to be him sporting that Camping World truck this week.
Yeah, we formerly, by the way, for our viewers, maybe the number change taking you back. Formerly the 94, that black 94, won his first 2 starts to Jason Freeman. Now in that blue and yellow Camping World number 20. Yeah, we know how much speed that he has, and he's showing it here early as a guy who's not showing as much pace early as that 47. Chris Darling started on the outside pole and has now dropped outside the top 5 within 5 laps. So that 47 just struggling a little bit. Maybe he's saving that stuff. Phoenix isn't the most concerning track as far as tire wear is concerned, but certainly you're pulling a lot of lateral Gs here at ISM. So it can factor in, but a little unusual to see Chris Darling fall back this early.
Yeah, we're right on board with him right here, down in 6th position right now, working his way onto the front stretch here at Phoenix International Raceway. But so far, so good for the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman up at the front of the field in the SimShots Chevrolet Silverado. And you can see the 49 of Mitchell Adams back behind him. Of course, Adams comes into tonight as the points leader with a very healthy lead over the number 50 machine of Bill Edwards, as well as the number 9 machine of Lorello. Lorello and Edwards really need to crack the egg, so to speak, because right now Bill Edwards is all the way back in the 23rd position. There he is, coming into tonight, 2nd place in points in that number 50. So far back in the field at this point, Drew, he's going to have to really turn it around here.
Yeah, this is not looking great for that 50's hopes of just keeping this alive, quite frankly, given this position. He will be, not in essence, I think mathematically eliminated if he doesn't start to really get up there and make some progress, which doesn't look like he's really able to do thus far. But, hey, folks, we're only on lap 9. But certainly pressure is on that 50, so to speak. Just like back out front, pressure starting to mount on that 8 of Drew Himmelman, the 49 truck. Cutting to the inside, looking for that race lead through 3 and 4. I definitely thought that iRacing had changed the start-finish line, but it is the traditional 3 and 4 folks, with the traditional front stretch. I know in real life that they've changed that a little bit, but you do have that cool paved dogleg. But it is really hard to make that bottom lane work, as we just saw through 3 and 4. You could really carry a ton of momentum on that high lane. The big advantage to that bottom is kind of cutting through that dogleg, as that 49 was able to do. But you just see how pinched off that corner entry is for that 49, and he just struggles to get that thing to rotate through the center off and carry as much speed as that 8's going to be able to. And now Izinga maybe going to try to follow that 8 to the high lane and maybe now steal second.
Yeah, look at them racing side by side with one another right here. And I got to say, that number 49 of Adams, very quick. Izinga takes out the cone there. I'm sure we're going to see that a couple times here tonight. In fact, there was a leak I broadcasted once here on the channel where someone took out the cone every single lap here, but Mitchell Adams, he's not taking out the cone. He's still trying to get around the number 8 of Himmelman here as we go down the front stretch. And looks like that last time by, I think the 49 was able to lead it at the stripe. Yes, he was. So Mitchell Adams will pick up a lap lead here tonight and trying to pick up where he left off last week at Auto Club. That 49 machine was a force to be reckoned with at that 2-mile racetrack, but can't count out Ben Izinga, the 07 machine, digging there in the LaRocco Auto Parts Chevrolet there on the inside, and Andrew Himmelman, he's got to be careful here, Drew. Oh, 49 of Adams gets wicked loose coming out of turn number 4, and he did a great job of saving it.
Yeah, and these guys had really started to pull away from the rest of the top 5, and this racing, the side-by-side racing here for the last 5 laps or so has just brought the likes of Jason Freeman and James Sorello back into this fight, as that 49 getting loose also kind of slowed up these guys. Now you're seeing guys like Chris Darling, JT Poole, a whole mess of cars are closing in on this battle for the race lead, and this does not look like what you expect out of Phoenix. We have about 10 cars in shot right now, as the 49 maybe burned up his right rear just a little bit there, Peter. He's starting to struggle as that 8 now just pulled a little bit of a gap on those guys.
Yeah, and here comes that number 07, Ben Izinga, now trying to take away the second position as he's to the inside of Adams. We saw how loose it can be up off the corners. That's a pretty common thing here, Drew, especially coming out of turn number 4 because it's so flat. You put so much weight on the right-hand side of the car. If you can get that throttle down just a little bit too soon, it tends to snap around on you. Now, same thing can happen, but under braking into turn number 1, Drew. This is a racetrack where you use the brakes a heck of a lot. I liken this racetrack to racing a little bit like a road course. You have a tendency to back up your corners, try and hit the apex, because the apex through turn number 3 and 4, we'll see if we can go on board here with Jason Freeman in the number 20 machine, as it looks like the 07 of Izinga was able to clear Mitchell Adams for that spot. But look how late on the brakes the 20 machine here, Freeman, was going off into turn number 1, just was able to pull level with that 49 machine of Adams. I mean, that is how late you can get on the brakes here. But another thing is you have to modulate the brakes. You have to trail brake into the corner. You'll see these drivers playing with that brake bias as the run goes on, as the car tightens up, loosens up, whatever. They'll move the brake bias a little bit further back if the truck tends to tighten up. They'll move it a little bit further forward if the truck tends to loosen up over the run, just to try and control the car when you're trying to get it cranked down into the corner. And I know, Drew, I'm one of those drivers. I love a lot of rear brake, but here going into turn number 1, you're carrying so much speed that that doesn't often work out, having a lot of rear brake.
Yeah, and you kind of talked about how much braking you do here. I think here in Richmond, of the short tracks, I think Pocono's another kind of one that you could throw in there. Those are the tracks that you really brake hard in. A lot of guys would think that it would be Martinsville or Bristol or kind of one of the smaller tracks. Ooh, the 8 got into the wall a little bit. That's allowing Izinga to get a run to the inside, as now we have a fresh battle for the race lead, as both first and second and fourth and fifth are battling now. Is the number 8 going to try to carry that momentum to the outside of Izinga? I think he's just out of the groove a little bit. Oh, taps the wall again, does that 8 truck. And that fairly light contact. I don't think that number 8 is going to have any substantial damage there, but certainly not what you want on lap 19 after being the pole sitter, is to be banging on that outside wall on corner exit. That could really easily knock the toe out of the front end of that truck, and I think the 8 kind of got lucky there to just lose basically 5 positions and not really tear that truck up, getting into the wall basically twice in one lap.
Yeah, and you look out front right now of Andrew Himmelman's number 8 machine, and like you said, now all the way back to the 5th position, and he does have Chris Darling, the outside pole sitter, right back behind him in the number 47 machine. So we'll just have to wait and see if Darling is able to put up a fight for the 5th position with Andrew Himmelman here in the next couple of laps. But as you can see, folks, really the top 10 or so have broken away just a little bit. The number 98 machine back there, that of course being Jason Gracias running right in front of the number 19 of David Harvey. And Harvey currently sitting in the 10th position. As there's contact between the 98 and the 971, Nathan Maurer goes around in the 971. Is that going to be our first caution of the night? No, we stay green flag. Can you believe that, Drew?
Not really. Honestly, I definitely was watching that and then looking at my monitor, seeing when that yellow flag would wave, and no yellow flag. Now we're looking at these guys racing side by side through 1 and 2, and just maybe a little bit of a squeeze from that 98 truck, and then he tagged that John Deere machine as well. And somehow the 971 kept it relatively straight despite that, 2 trucks being contacted with him. A fantastic job here. You'll see from the blimp/helicopter cam that 98's just going to run a little high, maybe the 971. I don't know that he could have done much, but what a job keeping. Like, once that rear end started to rotate to the left like that was a fantastic job of that 971 to keep it under control, Peter, and not bring out our first yellow is now our first 22 laps under green.
Yeah, something also happened. We just saw the 971 and Nathan Maurer head down pit road, but something also happened a little bit further back in the pack, somewhere around Bill Edwards. Let's see if we can see what happened here coming out of turn number 4. Oh, the 28, and looks like the 26 had it coming together. Sorry, not the 26, the 62, getting my numbers back to front. Of course, that 62 driven by Colin Ullery. Let's see if we can get another look of what happened there to Ullery in this contact. Let's see, there's contact there with the 28 machine, and also got a little bit of help from Travis White back there. Of course, the 28 driven by Jamar Dumas, and wow, 62 of Ullery really getting beaten up, and he is also now come down pit road to get that damage repaired. So we saw issues with the 971. We've seen issues now with the 26 machine, but so far so good for the 07 Ben Izenga, because since he took the race lead, he's been able to hold on to it. But Jason Freeman in that Camping World number 20 isn't going anywhere. He's running equivalent lap times to your race leader, that number 07, and I'll tell you what, you can't count out Freeman, already a 2-time winner this season in limited number of starts, so definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, Andrew Himmelman in the 8 machine, he is continuing to drop back through the field here, Drew. He's now slid back to the 8th position in the number 8 machine, and somehow we've been caution-free for the first 26 laps, but I'm sure Andrew wants to get onto pit road here pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know he set an exceptional qualifying lap, but Drew Himmelman did express his concern with his long-run pace before the race started, so it's not terribly shocking for that 8 to fall back just a little bit like he's doing now, especially given that little bit of contact that he had. That typically doesn't help the truck handle better unless you're really loose, and sometimes it can tighten that thing up, but typically just makes it handle worse. It just tends to slide the tires more. So, yeah, I mean, not terribly surprising for that 8. Still running in the top 10, and he'll be looking to kind of keep that fall under control, so to speak. The truck behind him got real loose. Yeah, that 19 truck. This is what I was kind of worried about here at Phoenix, is the exit of turn 2, or the exit of turn 4 rather, is that 19 almost tagged that wall. It's just so tight on that exit, Peter. You're taking that late apex, but even still, that wall, especially, I think this is one of the tracks that the soft wall really factored in. Pre-soft wall, the exit of turn 2 was kind of difficult, and now that it hangs out just a little bit, it can catch that right side of that truck and really make that problem worse. It just gets so tight, especially when these guys get racing side by side. I'm not surprised that we've seen some issues with guys racing side by side on the exit of that turn 4.
Yeah, we're right on board with James Lorello, and you'll just see, folks, just how much this racetrack tightens up coming out of the corner. It just feels like you're being put into a funnel there, Drew, with how much wheel you have to crank into the truck to keep it off that wall. It just sometimes leads to that snap loose situation where you just have so much wheel into it, you're getting the throttle down, the rear tires are just starting to grip, and there's a certain level of grip that these tires just can't handle anymore, and if you exceed that, well, your day could be done. And of course, as you can see from the front stretch, it's not a very wide front stretch. It's not very forgiving here at Phoenix. If you spin coming out of turn number 4, Drew, you're going to be a ping pong ball all the way down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And, turn 4, especially, these guys seem to be at least on the very edge of grip, right? These trucks don't seem to be behaving perfectly given what we've seen. And if you're really, really tight off of 4, you just keep putting more wheel into it, which kind of just makes that understeer worse, right? You just get tighter and tighter when you put more and more wheel into that truck, and then you start really scrubbing that right front. And then maybe that could be what's really hurting that number 8 truck, is maybe he just has a little too much wheel on exit. I know I am a huge that's a huge tendency of mine, is I feel very uncomfortable when a truck is really tight off and you're trying to get that thing to turn and turn and turn, and it's just instinct to put more wheel into it and to just scrub that right front and absolutely annihilate that tire, and that can really, really hurt that long-term pace. As now we're looking at JT Poole in that number 98 as well. This is a battle for 6th position, actually for 5th, including that number 47. So JT Poole, another really good run in that 26 truck.
David Harvey in the number 19 John Deere Toyota has headed down a pit road here. Not sure if this is a scheduled or unscheduled pit stop, but lap number 33 seems a little bit early here, Drew. Maybe thinking tonight about possibly the 4-stop strategy. By my math, as you see Jamar Dumas there in the 28 machine also peeled off pit road as well, right in front of David Harvey. But a little bit early, in my opinion, to start coming down. But let's talk about tire fall off, as you see him finally working his way off pit road. Fastest time here tonight was actually turned by Nathan Maurer in the 971 machine. Nathan has also come down pit road, but his was primarily damage induced. He ran a 27.289. Your race leaders are running about 1.4 seconds slower a lap, which 1.4 seconds sounds like a lot, but when you consider that the pit road time that we just saw out of David Harvey in that number 19 machine was 42 seconds. I mean, 42 seconds is a lot. True. I mean, that's 34 laps or so for these leaders, considering your 1.4 second fall off, that type of thing. I just don't see that type of strategy coming off. Granted, they do have a 60% fuel tank, so it might be, lap 40. Well, no, I take that back. Here comes your race leader. I don't think the 07 Ben Izenga will be playing any games, so he's coming down. I was thinking we could at least get to lap number 40 before making a pit stop. Now, these drivers have probably done the math, and if you multiply, 37 by 4, well, it means you only have to make 3 pit stops. So I think that might be what the 07 of Izenga is doing here. He knows he's in the window now of just making it on 3 stops, and he's going to come down into his pit box. Now, that does give the race lead to the number 20 of Jason Freeman up at the top of the board right now. Got the number 9 of Lorello right back behind him, and great to see Lorello now up there near the front in the 2nd position. Folks, I'll ask the chat another question. How's the audio sound? I know we had some technical gremlins. We'll sort those out here on 3YTV, but hopefully everything's sounding good. Everything's looking good on my end, so that's good news to see everything. All my lights and twinkly things are looking good, but we do have a new cool things to come here in the near future on the channel. I think we're going to be able to get music and that type of thing at the start of the race, and that should be debuted next season here in the National Sim Racing Association. So hopefully we can make it a bit more enjoyable experience for all the people watching back at home. But another good thing about being back at home is there's some pretty darn good racing here tonight, and so far caution-free. A bit surprising that we've been caution-free here to the first pit stop. As was that the 971, or was that was back there? No, it wasn't the 971. It must have been the other 77, the other Simbox truck. Yeah, there he is. Doug Neal got the 62 of Ullery around him, the 28. That looked like that was possibly a little bit of a hairy moment for Doug Neal, Drew.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of damage on the tailgate of that number 77 truck, and it's not there at the. I guess it is there at the beginning of the replay, but yeah, just that 28. Yeah, this is just the difference in tires right here, folks. And the 77 can't really do a lot. He's on older tires. He's not going to be able to really move that truck around like those guys on fresher tires, the 62 and such. Around them is now most of our other lead lap trucks are coming down pit road. James Dorello, Robert Dudley, several others coming down here on lap 41. And, lap 37 to lap 50 is basically the pit window that's open. I know that you could probably go a little further, which is why guys like Chris Darling and some of the other guys pitted a little earlier. But, this is about the time. The risk in staying out is obviously losing track position, as you're just running slower times than those guys that pitted. But as we've seen, this hasn't been an incident-free race. It's just been a caution-free race. And so when you pit early, you just really run the risk of especially at a place like Phoenix, you're going to go one lap down. And if you are not a front runner, you're probably going to go 2 laps down here at ISM Raceway. So it's kind of one of those deals where you just got to play the fuel of the race on if you short pit, if you stay out, what's the value of fresher tires and possibly losing a little bit of track on the long run versus potentially having a caution. Those are things you just kind of got to weigh as a driver based on how that race is feeling and kind of make a call in real time, because these guys, for the most part, don't have crew chiefs that are looking around and looking at this stuff, right? These guys are having to make those calls themselves.
Yeah, that's right. And you're watching the number 50 here of Bill Edwards. He's still working around the racetrack right now. As your race leader, he's one of the few trucks who has yet to pit. I'm only seeing 2 right now. Bill Edwards, Jeffrey Johnson Jr. are those 2. And you can see he's just bleeding time. There goes the 44 of Philip Scott going underneath him. Here comes Edwards finally electing to come down pit road, and he's going to get down to that pit road speed limit right there at those yellow cones. Will Jeffrey Johnson Jr. in the 33, will he come down pit road? No, he will not. So the New Edge Auto Detailing Ford F-150 will continue to work his way around the racetrack as your race leader. Ben Izenga is going to move back up into the 2nd position. But here tonight, we got to give a huge shout out to several of the series sponsors here in the National Sim Racing Association. Brookstone Animal Hospital, you see them up there in the top left-hand corner of the screen. They sponsor the Lucky Dog Award. Haven't seen any of those yet, as we haven't seen a caution flag. Looks like Jeffrey Johnson Jr. going to peel off onto pit road. Not able to make it to that magic lap 50 number, so that will give the race lead back to the 07. There he is, Ben Izenga in that truck will now be your new race leader, at least race leader for the 2nd time here tonight. So far has led 19 laps in the field. Andrew Himmelman, your pole sitter here, picking up the Sim Racing shirts, another one of those series sponsors. He was able to lead the first 16 laps of tonight's race before sliding a little bit further back in the pack. In fact, Himmelman currently being scored in 11th there, Drew, probably elected to get some of that damage repaired on pit road while he had the opportunity in his pit box. But we've already had a couple of drivers possibly go by the wayside. Colin Ullery in the 62 machine. I'm trying to see if Ullery might have got a speeding penalty. I believe he did. Doug Neal in the 77 machine also appears to have received a speeding penalty. Both of those drivers having 1 minute plus pit stop times. David Harvey in the number 19, he also might have got a pit road penalty. He's being scored well down the field right now, 2 laps down with Neal and Ullery. So that's not good for those drivers. Drew, we've talked about pit road mishaps all season long here in the National Sim Racing Association Simbox Truck Series because of the fact that they run those smaller fuel tanks. You make a lot more pit stops, and it can be the spot where you can really ruin your night in a hurry. And I'm thinking back to what we saw out of Chris Darling multiple times. Now, Chris Darling, he must have had a pretty decent pit stop because he's currently being scored in 3rd. But, going on pit road, missing your pit box or speeding, it can be the end of your night.
It certainly can, and it's one of those deals where you can be a Kyle Busch and make up a ton of ground, or you can cost yourself a ton, right? We've seen drivers in real life, like pretty solid drivers like Denny Hamlin, just kind of struggle with being able to ride that, quick on and off delta times, getting on and off of pit road, and just that risk of if you speed, the consequences, like it destroys your race, especially with a race that's going like this one is right now. But looking at this battle unfolding in front of us right now, the 98, the 49, the 20, and that 47. The 47's got substantially older tires than the guys that he's around. A little bit of right front damage as well to that 47 truck, though nothing major. But this 47's just going to probably fall back a little bit. He pitted, I mean, probably 10, 15 laps before the rest of these guys, Peter. So that's, I mean, a third of a fuel run, basically, that his tires are older than these guys. When Izinga took the lead, he was like 4 seconds behind the race leader, and now he's 8.2. So the 47 definitely struggled a little bit, but it's just really because he decided to come in a little early, and he gained quite a bit of track position because of it. But now he's kind of paying that price of having those older tires, as now that number 9 or the number 98, the 49, and the 20 all got by him relatively easily, and now are fighting for that third amongst themselves.
Yeah, and for right now, the 07 machine, Ben Izenga, up at the front of the field, he has a whopping lead, almost 5 seconds over James Lorello, but Lorello does have 4-lap fresher tires, so that might pay out for the number 9 machine of Lorello. Jason Gracias in the 98 machine, he pitted 2 laps after Ben Izenga, so he's got fresher tires for the race leader. But then you're looking at Mitchell Adams in the 20 of Freeman. Now, Freeman has the freshest tires out of this group, but he's currently back there in 5th, as Chris Darling has lost another spot to the 26 machine at JT Poole. There they are. JT has been on a little bit of a run here lately. Drew had a really fast truck last week at Auto Club. And in fact, I believe he was the pole sitter last week. I misspoke and said Andrew Himmelman was the pole sitter, but I believe he started on the outside pole last week next to JT Poole. But JT Poole got that win at Bristol, and really I think that's going to be the highlight of JT's season. But he's continued to put together some solid runs here over the last couple of weeks, really starting to turn a corner in that 26 machine, and here moving up towards the top 5 yet again.
Yeah, JT's just been so impressive as of late. I really, since Watkins Glen, I mean, now, I shouldn't really say since Watkins Glen. He's had a ton of pace earlier on in this season. A lot of it was either self-inflicted mistakes or just kind of wrong place, wrong time. I don't think the 26 has ever struggled with pace. But basically, since Watkins Glen, it feels like he's just been able to figure out what he needs to do to put himself up front towards the end of these races more consistently, and that's exactly what he's doing once again tonight. Started in 9th position, not the greatest starting effort for that 26 truck, but running in 6th now, doing a fantastic job, as these 3 trucks just can't seem to get away from each other. That 98 of Jason Gracias, the 20 of Jason Freeman, and that 49 of Mitchell Adams have just been racing side by side for so long for the last few laps. And now looking at around 13th, 14th position, the number 51 of Paul Bilson, and that 24 of Ben Mashburn. That is 12th and 13th position. I believe that 51 just got by Mashburn, as a matter of fact, this last time by. Man, that 51 has some damage on it, too. That's kind of surprising he was able to make that pass work, Pete.
Yeah, that number 51 of Bilson, he pitted 10 laps after Ben Mashburn. So Mashburn here is nursing some older tires. You see Bill Edwards actually make that move as well. So that will move Edwards up to the 13th position. So Mashburn here really sliding back. There's Doug Milliner in the 15th position right now. Milliner, I'm just keeping an eye on him because Milliner has fresher tires than Mashburn as well, so he'll presumably be closing in on the Cummins diesel Toyota Tundra. But up at the front of the field, Izenga's still your race leader. Now he has lost 1 second to Lorello, but you got to think here, Drew, that we're not too far away from making a second round of pit stops here at Phoenix International Raceway out in the desert. Folks, if you're in the chat, we want to thank you for joining us here tonight as we continue to watch what is the penultimate round of the 2020-2021 Truck Series here in the National Sim Racing Association Simbox Truck Series. We want to give a big shout out to Stay Tuned Sports in the chat, because Stay Tuned Sports will be jumping on board as the series sponsor next season. That will be broadcast right here on 3Wide TV, and I'm very much looking forward to see what that brings. Of course, I'm sure a new season will bring new faces, and always fun to have a fresh slate for all of the drivers. As you see, Jason Freeman has actually made the pass now on the number 98 of Jason Gracias, and now Gracias comes under fire from Mitchell Adams. So we'll keep our eyes on this battle for 4th position right now. Yeah, we got Steven Doziak in the chat saying, yes, there's about 7 of us in the... Ooh, man, was that Jason Gracias? Might have just kissed the wall there, Drew. I was looking at the chat, and we'll go back and catch a replay of that, because I just want to see a replay of it for my own personal... my own personal sight here, as he just got up out of the groove coming out of turn number 1. I don't know if he hit that wall, but it was mighty close there for the number 98 machine of Jason Gracias.
Yeah, I don't think he actually got into it. I think he just got out of the groove, and you know, one thing that iRacing does do is kind of simulate those marbles, that if you get out of that groove, that thing all of a sudden is going to take off on you, and that's what happened to that 98. The right side looks perfectly clean on that truck, so I don't think there's any damage right there. But man, did he have to get way out of the throttle, which cost him quite a bit of time. But one thing I'm looking at here is on timing and scoring. When that 20 was able to get by that 98, he was 7 seconds behind Ben Ising, and now 6.3 seconds as that 24, Ben Mashburn, once again hitting early, unless this is for an issue, which I don't think it is. This is very early on lap 63. So yeah, I mean, this is on the you could probably stretch the last 2 stints, but a pretty early stop for that number 24. But that 20 truck is closing by about 0.2 a lap on our race leader right now, as kind of James Arello's doing the opposite. But yeah, Jason Freeman is on a mission right now, Peter.
Yeah, he's got those fresher tires on that Camping World Chevy Silverado, so we do know that Freeman does. So, whoa, the 24 machine, and oh no, that's Ben Mashburn going around on the front stretch, and oh, JT Poole, wrong place, wrong time. Ben Mashburn brings out the first caution flag of the night here on the front stretch. He was on cold tires, just coming off pit road. In fact, let's just go on board with him, Drew. Coming off pit road right here, just getting up to speed down there on the apron. You see he missed that blue cone, so now he can blend up on the racetrack. Just trying to get those tires hot. Goes off into turn number 3. There goes Jason Freeman in the number 20 machine. He's using those fresher tires to close up to the back of him, and it just all of a sudden goes around. Mashburn mashing the inside wall, going for a 367.20, and there's JT Poole in the number 26 machine. Nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, once that 26 that just kind of committed to that high lane, it was just hoping that 24 was kind of spinning at the right moment, like a one of those subway kind of, I don't even know, the turnstiles. There we go. You just hope that the 24 turnstile just turns just right to let yourself through. Didn't work out for that 26. It worked out for everybody else around him, but definitely unfortunate for JT, as he was putting such a great performance on, right? There's nothing that he really could have done once, right? I mean, coming off of 4 and you see that truck getting sideways, you basically got to pick where you're going to go before you even understand what's going to happen to that 24 truck. And unfortunately, he just picked the wrong spot, and that's probably day done for both of those drivers. And quite frankly, that was in close proximity to guys like Mitchell Adams, and I mean, right behind Jason Freeman, and that would have really changed the complexion of this race in this championship if Mitchell Adams had gotten involved.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting. It would have been interesting if some of those cars got involved. Now, this, of course, being our first caution flag of the night, this will reset the field. In fact, I was looking at things, and I think we were down to just not many cars on the, or trucks, I should say, on the lead lap. I believe that this man right here, the 28 of Jamar Dumas, will be the first Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner of the night, the Texaco Haviland Chevrolet Silverado. So that will now give us, by my math, it looks like maybe just 12 trucks on the lead lap, which at this point of the race is quite a small number, all things considered. Of course, we had that long green flag run. We had a couple of drivers have pit road speeding penalties as well. And just looking up and down the scoring pylon at some of the drivers that this might have caught out, I don't think it really caught out anyone, Drew, because Ben Mashburn, I think he was literally the first taker on pit road in the second round of pit stops. So that's good news for a lot of these drivers. Now, it does look like we're going to have some drivers take the wave around, even though they're on the older tires up at the front of the field. For example, I know the number 2 machine, we'll just kind of highlight Justin White. There he is. That number 2 machine, he has 25 lap old tires this time by. So we know that he's going to want a quickie yellow because he's probably only got about 10 to 12 more laps of fuel in that car. Same thing with Travis White in the number 23 machine. He's been 29 laps since he was on pit road. The 5, Ben Adams, he's been out there. Looks like he came down pit road. So not sure how he's getting the wave around in the number 5 machine, to be perfectly honest with all the people back home. But he will get the wave around. Get waved past that pace car. Perhaps Ben Adams had an extended stay on pit road for fixing some damage or something, just kind of came out in an awkward spot relative to the pace car. But you see these cars getting the wave around here, the trucks I should say, and that means that the front of the field will double up for the restart here on lap number 69. It will be 69 laps in the books when the green flag waves, and that means that, by my math, we'll just have 81 laps to go. Closing in on the halfway mark here in tonight's Phoenix 150 there, Drew.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Like the 07, our race leader of Ben Izinga, he certainly has had a lot of fun tonight as the 24 of Nashburg. They rode. It's a unique thing to see, but the 07 leading the field to the green. Kind of a slower restart for these guys as the caution back out. Not quite sure why. I was like, this is an awful slow restart. But maybe the field not quite together there, Peter. A little anticlimactic, though, as we will restack these guys and try to get it going this next lap.
Yeah, I was watching that restart like, this is a strange restart. And then, I never saw the green flag wave. Just kind of catching out the commentators off guard, making sure we are alive and awake, and it seems like the chat is alive and awake. We got Jason Bean saying, good race so far. Wish Drew hadn't kissed that wall. I'm curious to know if that number 8 of Himmelman actually got that damage repaired under that pit stop. It wouldn't have hurt, in my opinion, for him to just stay on pit road a little bit longer to make sure that they pull out all the fenders that they can pull out and that type of thing. So maybe Andrew's got that damage fixed. We'll have to see if he can charge his way back up through the front of the field, as we're now just 5 laps away from the cross flags here at Phoenix, and looks like the green flag is going to be in the air this time for Ben Izinga and the 07 machine. He's going to pull out to an early lead, but back behind him, they're side by side. Jason Freeman in the number 20 Camping World machine. He's been nice and fast here tonight. And here comes Mitchell Adams in the 49. He has led 1 lap here tonight in the 49 Mobile, right there on the bottom side of the racetrack, going toe-to-toe with the number 9 machine of Lorello. Of course, Lorello won the regular season before we got to the Simbox chase, and it has been all Mitchell Adams here in the Simbox chase, able to supplant himself up at the top of the board in the point standings, and comes into tonight with a pretty big points lead. I'll tell you what, Drew, it's going to have to really unravel for that 49 machine over the next couple of races. Of course, next week is the season finale as we go side by side for the race lead. Here comes Jason Freeman, dives to the inside of Ben Izinga. We'll get back to that point here in just a little bit, but side by side battle for the race lead coming out of turn number 4, and that Camping World truck of Jason Freeman. We've seen he's been fast. We've seen Izinga be fast, but the 20 pushes up the racetrack, almost contact between those two.
Yeah, Izinga had a huge moment out of 2 that last time by, and that allowed that 20 to catch up with him down the backstretch. And now the 20 is going to clear him. It's going to do a little bit of a slide job there through 3 and 4 and clear that number 20 as the 49 and the 9 maybe get together a little bit behind them, as these guys are really stacked up here as the 9 now throws it to the inside, 3 wide there for a second on the entry to turn 1 as the 49 pushes wide, the 20 pushes wide. These guys have their hands full right now, Peter, as we got racing all over the place, as the 20 able to reestablish that lead, but the 9 of Lorello, the 49 of Mitchell Adams are 2 heavyweight championship contenders racing super hard here at Phoenix. Oh, the 47 into the wall, and that's a huge crash.
And the 47, okay, he had some hydraulics right there at the end. There was someone else involved in that. Oh, no, it's Andrew Himmelman getting word, and just Andrew Himmelman right there in the number 8 machine sent absolutely flipping, and Chris Darling with just that little boing right at the end. I need a soundboard sound for that one. Let's go back and see how this all started. We'll slow this one down for you folks at home. The 47 to the high side of the number 98 of Jason Gracias, and Darling, just like what happened to Ben Mashburn, backhand comes around, he tries to save it. There's the outside wall, comes straight down into the path of Andrew Himmelman, and that number 8 machine, folks, goes absolutely flying, Space Force style, here down the front stretch at Phoenix International Raceway. Let's see if we can get one more look of this from maybe the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman himself. We'll roll the tape here. Darling to his outside. We'll slow this down. You see the back end of the 47 comes around and unfortunately hits that outside wall. Nowhere for Andrew Himmelman to go, but up into the space. Do a barrel roll. Do a double barrel roll. And then do another little somersault on the racetrack. And unfortunately for your Sim Racing Shirts Pole Award winner here tonight, it looks to be day done.
Yeah, somebody should have told Drew Himmelman that I think SpaceX is taking applications, because that thing darn near did what SpaceX managed to do this week, which is land that thing back on all 4 wheels. I mean, the 8's still going, but that is, I did not expect that. It looks like when a kid takes a Hot Wheels car and just throws it down a hallway and it just kind of tumbles. Like, those physics just make absolutely no sense as to that those trucks would behave like that, but it certainly is spectacular. And great thing about iRacing is another view from the 47 is, man, when those cars just they contacted just as they were making contact with the inside wall, and just launching them is yeah, there's luckily no risk unless you have one of those leaning rigs that might tip over. There's no real risk for injury for these guys. So as spectacular as that stuff was, it's great to know that these guys are going to be okay behind the wheel. But man, that's got to be disappointing for that 8 truck who ran so well early on.
Yeah, it's disappointing as well for the number 47 machine of Chris Darling. You have to remember he was up there near the front of the field as well. I was trying to dial up another look at the replay. I lost it, unfortunately, where we were, just due to the software. But, oh, there we go. I just like how all of a sudden, we'll get one more look at this one. I just love how all of a sudden the 47 machine gets, there's the 8 doing somersaults, 10 out of 10 for the landing. I'm sure the Russian judge will probably give him like a 3. But anyway, I like how Chris Darling's 47 machine just kind of goes blink. We'll just go back. We'll just rewind it, make all those scratch sounds on the old record, and does boink right there at the end. Gotta love iRacing. Its physics are completely broken sometimes. But unfortunately, the 47 is in his pit box. We'll check on the number 8 machine as well. In fact, somehow, folks, this is not a recording, but somehow the number 8 machine's still out there, Drew. I mean, how, I don't know. Maybe they had a fast repair tonight? I
don't see it.
I don't see.
Oh, yeah. There's no limits on fast repairs.
Huh.
I don't think that is not a normal feature of the Simbox Truck Series, but sometimes, you know, when you're setting these things up, you can forget to check a box, accidentally check a box. That stuff can happen. But yeah, there is a no-limit fast repair quantity tonight. So it's great for the 8 truck. It's unfortunate for that 47 who was not able to rejoin in time. But if he gets back out there in a reasonable time and gets a few cautions, that, man, this kind of changes the approach to this race if you're some of these guys, right? Like, you can drive this thing a little bit harder, and if you bang up that right side, as long as you have a pit stop left, whatever, right? Just, you can get that thing fixed, no problem.
Yeah, that is definitely something I wasn't expecting here tonight. But folks, we did see the cross flag, so we are now into the second half of the race, and Jason Freeman in the number 20 is your race leader. I know that he's got fans in the chat here tonight waiting to see that green flag, and there is the green flag, and he's already out to a lead here. Gets clear of Ben Izenga. Izenga just pushing it down off into turn number 1. You could see that 07 with that late lunge around the outside, now trying to fend off a challenge from the 49 machine. Mitchell Adams down there on the inside, your points leader and reigning Simbox Truck Series champion. Adams, a multiple-time winner this season, but wow, Izenga getting a good run there through the high side of turn number 3 and 4. You don't often see that, and here they are coming right at you out of the corner. I got to see the 77 machine, Doug Neal, going around here on the front stretch. Is that going to bring out the caution? Yes, it will. Caution flag back in the air here, Drew.
Yeah, we'll get that replay queued up for you, folks. Is an eventful entry into turn 3. Quite a bit of contact. It looks like the 77 has it saved, but he's just kind of hugging that apron, and that thing just slowly over-rotates and gets around on him. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised iRacing threw a caution there. I guess he's technically on the racing surface, but man, cautions do breed cautions, and we're actually kind of lucky given the 3-wide incident between these 3 drivers that there wasn't kind of a bigger catastrophe. As I think the only guy that had any type of actual meaningful issues was that 77, who really just fine just when he got it going. I think he thought he was in reverse, was in first, and kind of nosed that truck into the inside wall. But like we talked about, fast repairs tonight, so no harm, no foul for any of those guys. They all kept it going.
Yeah, and of course, now that the field knows that they have a little bit extra lenience when it comes to those fast repairs, Drew, they probably can think about, let's race a little bit harder. I know you and I, we've been in those types of races where all of a sudden you realize, man, we got all these fast repairs. Well, there's no point holding back anymore here on the racetrack, but we'll see if we can pick up who the lucky dog might have been under this caution flag. I think it was actually... Is it the number 7 of Garrett Gleason? It might have been. Let's see if we can figure out who that Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award was for you. See if we can confirm it was Gleason or not. Garrett, of course, running the number 7 machine here in the Simbox Truck Series. Don't think it was Garrett Gleason. So who would it have been? Maybe the 15 machine or Robert Dudley? Well... I think we got our answer. I went backwards, but I should have just waited it out. Because, yes, it's Robert Dudley, the number 15 machine, picking up the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. He'll be the 19th truck on the lead lap. So, Drew, I think we went from 12 to 19 here over the last couple of cautions. So, a lot of trucks now contending for a possible win.
Yeah, and like we talked about, those guys that got that wave around looking for a quick yellow, this is exactly what they wanted, right? These last 2, really. The 47 incident, which was unfortunate, and then to get another quick caution as well with the 77 spinning around off of turn 4 worked out really well for those guys. And this has brought a bunch of those guys into contention. Guys like Drew Himmelman, right? I mean, we've seen the pace out of that 8 truck, and he did a couple cartwheels down the front stretch, and he's back in this thing like nothing happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, that number 8 machine, I was expecting Andrew Himmelman to be off the lead lap. Just at least down a lap, right? He did barrel rolls on the front stretch. No, folks. There he is. 16th place right now, and a completely clean car. So I know we had people in the chat like Tana Himmelman. I think Stay Tuned Sports as well, we also had Jason Bean saying, "Man, I wish Drew hadn't kissed the wall." Well, with fast repairs, he can kiss the wall only once. He can turn it straight up into the wall right now, come down pit road, brand new truck, kaboom. Probably wouldn't be as exciting as him doing barrel rolls on the front stretch. I think I want Andrew Himmelman to win now, Drew, because of it'd be pretty cool to do barrel rolls and win on the same night. But we are getting word that the pace truck or pace car lights have turned off. It's pace car with race trucks, and we often have the pace truck with race cars. Don't know how iRacing or why iRacing does that, but anyway, we got the pace car here tonight, that Ford Mustang, which is a very outdated Ford Mustang nowadays, up there at the front of the field, but nonetheless, its pace car lights are off time, so we're about to go back racing. That's the good news. 65 laps to go this time by, as you see all the field lining up back there, Drew.
Yeah, if iRacing keeps that Mustang before too long, it's going to be a classic, right? We're going to have like a classic car, pace car. So that's what, an 05? That's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
But the number 20 of Jason Freeman leading these guys to the green flag. Here he comes. Great restart by that number 20 truck. He's really flirting with changing lanes too soon, I believe. There are guys a little loose going into one, and huge crash.
Yeah, that was a big crash. That was the big one here tonight here at Phoenix, and we'll see if we can figure out what's going on with just Yeah, we'll figure out what happened here. We'll go back live. It happened back, I think, around the 44 machine, maybe the 51. We'll slow it down here. Yeah, the 51 and the 44 having a coming together, and it looked like Paul Bilson started to come down. Then they go back up the racetrack. The 5 gets into the back of the 6. The 2 gets involved. And then the pileups on from there. There goes Milliner spinning around. Jeez, and Garrett Gleason there in the number 7 Dunn Raceway Park machine. Got Thornton Graphics on the side of that truck. He gets piled into it. That one was crazy. And I'll tell you what, Drew, that the way that started, it kind of hard to see what all went down. We kind of got it. Let's get one more look at it here. We'll just jump back on the replay. Watch the 44 and the 51, folks. The 51 being that gray truck, and I think he just starts to come down the racetrack a little bit early. I don't know if he knew that Philip Scott was down there or not, but the National Ninja League Ford there getting a big chunk of it. And then you can see the secondary melee that started right here around the 2 and the 6 and the 5. And unfortunately for the number 7 machine, there he is kind of getting into it all late. So very tough break here for a couple of these trucks.
Yeah, certainly. And if those guys didn't know that they had a fast repair, or an infinite number of fast repairs, they certainly will now. About half the field will, in fact, know that. As a ton of guys you see now riding on the board here. I can't quite make out the truck. Oh my goodness, that was close right there. Oh, I believe this is the 7 truck, who then gets into the back of the 8. And I think you saw what the 7 and the 8 did once they kind of missed that first initial thing. They kind of just saw those 2 trucks spinning to the outside and kind of target fixated and just kind of went up into their direction. Well, things would have cut that thing back down. It's, oh my goodness, the 77 of Doug Neal pounded that 44 truck. And a whole lot of smoking trucks, but that will be repaired shortly. As many of these guys already repaired, as the 77 just tried a last-second maneuver to get around that number 44 and just couldn't quite make that work.
Yeah, then you had some drivers like this driver right here able to scoot on through. That, of course, is Jamar Dumas in the Texaco Haviland machine. So there was definitely some good driving there, and it's going to shake up some of that back half of the field here as we're working yet another caution flag here. And, folks, if you're just now joining us, we went caution-free for just about the first half of the race, but we're now working caution number 4 as the 4th one has now been thrown in about the last 20 laps or so, which 25 laps. Hopefully we can buck the trend here pretty soon. Dirt Dogger 93 saying we have our own language. What language would that be? Dirt Dogger 93 saying Valley Talk. Stephen Doziak talking about the race the Total Nonstop Racing League put together this past week. Stephen Doziak was actually up here in the 3-wide TV booth. Of course, with Garrett Gleason, driver in the number 7 machine. So it was fun having Steven and Garrett up in the booth for one of these races, having a little bit of fun. We gave away a lot of money here on the channel on Monday night. In fact, $110 on Monday night was given away in the Total Nonstop Racing League event that we broadcasted here. Stay tuned Sports saying, I don't know if I'm wrong for asking, but don't you think 51 should have seen him? Or how delayed are the spotters? It depends. iRacing spotters are not the best spotters in the world. That is for sure. The amount of times an iRacing spotter has thrown me under the bus, and I've thrown the iRacing spotter under the bus in in return, well, it's happened quite a bit. So I'm sure the 51 there of Bilson will keep that in mind going forward. But the base car has headed back down pit road. The vintage Ford Mustang is the 20 of Freeman, going to get us back to the green flag and already out to a good jump. Jason Gracias here, Drew, in that number 98 machine. We haven't seen a lot of pace out of Jason Gracias in the truck this season, which is a bit surprising with Gracias winning the Total Nonstop Racing League Championship that we broadcast on Monday nights. I expected him to be really, really strong in that truck all season long once he was finally here in the NSRA Simbox Truck Series, but he hasn't been able to figure out the truck, I don't think. And, every iRacing car drives a little bit different as we got a big wiggle back there at the top of the screen. The number 6 at Doug Milliner had a little bit of a moment, but we stay green. He was able to corral it coming off of turn number 4. But that number 98 put together a pretty good run tonight.
Yeah, certainly one of the best runs that we've seen out of Gracias thus far this season. But yeah, that six got all sorts of sideways, and you could just feel the intensity being really ratcheted up here lately as, these guys are really racing a lot harder than they were at least for the first half of this race, pretty much, as now that 07 and the 20 battling for the race lead, the number 33 battling as well back there for a position. Izinga now mounting a challenge to that number 20 truck as guys continue to race behind them. Just a little bit lower through the corners is that number 07, but you can see that's going to just hurt him a little bit off as you can see how much room these guys are given to that outside wall on late exit out of turn 4. But Izinga not quite able to do anything with this yet, as about the first 6-7 cars are single file here, but by no means not trying to gain that track position. It just can take a minute to kind of regain your rhythm on these restarts, Peter, because just, you got trucks around you. You've had a ton of cautions. You can just take a minute once you've had that stop, go, to kind of find those marks that were making you successful earlier in the race.
Yeah, that is for sure. And here we go, coming out of turn number 2 down into the dog leg. We continue to watch these two as they turn basically equivalent lap times that last time by. And oh man, the 07 now all over the back bumper of the number 20 of Freeman. They're racing hard back behind them as well. The number 51 of Paul Bilson, he's racing hard with the number 33 machine. TJ Buck back there as well in that number 84. A new look on that number 84 machine this week, running side by side with Ben Adams, who's got himself back up near the top 10. Bit surprising because Adams has had an up-down night in the number 5, but so far looking good for him, working his way through the corner. We'll jump back up to the front of the field. You haven't missed anything because it is still the number 20 of Jason Freeman who continues to lead as we close in on lap number 100. And Drew, I'm looking here at the scoring pylon as they dip down there through the dog leg. My lifetime in scoring is saying that it's been 30 laps since these front two have been on pit road. So we know now that maybe they're going to try and get to 37 laps to go. No, surely they can't get to 37 laps to go because that was the magic number we saw at the beginning of the night. Maybe there's a bit more fuel left in the tank, but you'd have to presumably get to about 38 laps to go, at least from what we saw earlier, to be able to get to the checkered flag, and that's in about 20 laps from now or so.
Yeah, that seems like a stretch. That those wrecks and those drivers involved in them that stayed on the lead lap, this might be kind of a blessing for them because they're the ones that are going to be good on fuel. I can't imagine that if these guys are on, have been running for 30 laps, even if the vast majority of those 30 laps is probably under yellow, it's not, exponentially better than the fuel mileage that you would be getting under green. It's significantly, but you're not burning zero fuel, as the 23 and the 5, a bit of contact there in the 23 of Jason White. More contact, but they all keep it going and no caution. But certainly even more drama for those drivers back there, is that's basically where we've seen all of these issues arise from, is kind of in that middle third of the pack.
Hey, Drew, you got to watch this. Watch the number 26 machine of JT Poole, currently being scored in 22nd here tonight, 2 laps down. He's just going to drop to the inside. Look at all these trucks that he ends up passing. Same thing with Philip Scott dropping all the way down there. As we've been watching this replay, though, we just got word caution flag is out once again here at the racetrack. Let's see if we can see what happened. It's these two again, the 5 and the 23 going off into turn number 1. The 23 cuts down in front of the 5. They make contact again, same place we saw it just a couple laps ago. This time bringing out the caution. Wow, I'm sure there will be some heated words between the 23 and the 5 after this race, because that's 2 times there over just a handful of laps. This is almost like a replay of what we saw last time, but this time finally bringing out a yellow.
Yeah, and the 23 certainly turned down early, almost as if to say you're not doing that again. but I just don't know that the 5 was really taking a proper angle into the corner. Look how far he is from that white line or the white wall. But the 20, I mean, this isn't a 50-50 thing, because I think that whenever you're that guy on the inside trying to pass the guy on the outside, it's kind of on you to do it cleanly. And that 23 certainly did cut down, but ultimately, I don't know that the 5 was really going to make that corner. What are your thoughts, Peter?
I think he was personally, I think he was entitled to it. This is one of those things where, especially coming out of the corner, so this is on board with the 5. You see Travis White there. I think White thinks he clears him, and starts coming down. He definitely was clear, and the 5 down there. I don't know. That one's a tough one. I don't know if the 5 missed his marks there a little bit. It's kind of one of those things where you might have to feel that one out as a race car driver, and because definitely the 23 did clear the number 5. However, the number 5 machine was going there for the apex. Perhaps he could have made the apex. I don't know. The door was open, so he decided to fill it in, and it was just one of those things they had to come in together. So I definitely think you'd have to feel that one out as a driver, Drew, to kind of feel whether or not the 5 missed the corner or not, missed his braking zones, or perhaps he did not miss his braking zone and all was good. So we'll wait and see who's going to be the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award. It might be the 77 of Doug Neal. He's currently being scored 1 lap down. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else that it might be obvious who might have picked it up. I'm not seeing anyone just yet. Doug Neal's kind of taking an awkward line, so I think he's expecting to get waved around the pace truck here, maybe? No, he's dropping to the back of the pack, so that's a bit of a surprise. Just looking to see if anyone else is up at speed right now to try and get a lap back. Not seeing it, so not sure who the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog Award winner will be under this caution flag here, but one thing is for sure, things have kind of shuffled up at the front of the field, Drew, because remember, we talked about those trucks who we thought could make it on fuel versus the trucks that couldn't make it on fuel, who were basically at that point your race leaders, and maybe we thought maybe it would benefit some of the other trucks. Well, all of your race leaders like Ben Izenga, Jason Gracias, Mitchell Adams, they all came down pit road, but then a couple of trucks stayed out, including this man right here, the number 50 of Bill Edwards. He needs a good points night in that S2R Chevrolet to try and close the difference to the 49 of Adams, of Mitchell Adams, I should say, who is currently being scored in the 7th position, the 4th truck on the inside line. Pace car lights are off, so we're going to get set to go back to green flag racing. All those trucks doubling up for the restart. Dana Himmelman saying, ouch, Ben. And that was a little bit of an ouch, but luckily, fast repairs tonight. You get a fast repair. You get a fast repair. Everybody gets a fast repair tonight, Drew.
Yeah, and it's been great for those 2 out of the top 3 at least, right? I mean, Drew Himmelman did a couple flips, and he is up in 3rd position. The 51 had a fairly heavily damaged front end. He's good to go. And the 50, Bill Edwards, as you mentioned, a really solid recovery starting 21st. Now leading the field back to the green flag, a great restart by that 50 truck. It looks like he will clear the 51. Going into turn 1, though, not significantly clear. The 20's going to take a look, and is Freeman going to save it? He's almost spinning. Now contact between the 20 and the 07, and they spin in caution. We will get that replay queued up for you, folks. I don't think that either of us were expecting that, as the 20 just kind of is going to try to fit this into a hole that doesn't quite exist. There we go. He tries to cut it to the inside of that 51 truck. The spot's just not there. He's trying to save it, and I think the 07 was just trying to get around him, and then those two make contact, and the 20 goes into the inside wall. Both of those drivers are definitely going to have to make pit stops, but like we've mentioned, this is not a race ender by any means. And man, that what the 20 did, that was just, I don't think that there was necessarily the room to make that realistically work, but I certainly understand the effort and to why that 20 was in such a rush, but unfortunately just didn't pay off for him.
Yeah, we'll go on board here with Andrew Himmelman, and you see the 20 just kind of cuts down, and the 50, there might have just been a little bit of an accordion effect there, Drew, because it seemed like the 20 reacted to the 51, And then the 8 just couldn't quite react in time for the number 20 machine. And that is two drivers, the 20 and the 07, who've both been up there at the front of the field pretty much the entire race, now going to have to race their way from the back of the field.
Yeah, and that's kind of the risk in putting yourself in that position if you're the 20, right? Is there is basically a truck length between the 51 and the 8 at that point, and the 20 occupied that entire truck length. And so when they went into the corner, the 20 probably checked up, trying to give that 50 a little bit more room. There's no way the 8 can see that, though, right? You can't. These trucks don't have brake lights, nothing like that. So you're just doing it based on rhythm. And I'm sure the 8 just kind of did what he's been doing. And because they're just, when trucks get that tight, they can't really react to that stuff. Just unfortunately, contact just kind of was a result. And it would have been kind of pretty remarkable had that not happened. Unfortunately, though, Drew Himmelman tagged with an EOL, being cited as at fault for that incident. So that will certainly change the race for that 8 truck.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he's made a heads-up move here. He's going to come down to his pit box, take on fuel in the SimShots Chevrolet. There's a couple of other trucks doing the same thing, like the number 50 of Bill Edwards, and it's a little bit of a stretch here, Drew, with 42 laps to go to make it to the end of the race. But if we get maybe, another caution or two, maybe, just maybe, it will work out in their benefits. So he's come down pit road, topped it off. Same thing with the number 50 of Edwards. You see Edwards coming off pit road right behind him. There he is. We also saw the number 33 come down pit road. We also saw Mitchell Adams in the 49 come down pit road under this caution, which is a bit surprising that he would come down because he had that good track position as well. Just trying to see if any other of our big players here tonight. James Lorello, the number 9 machine, he's actually on pit road right now. There he is coming down pit road. So he's thinking about possibly getting enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. That'd be a bit surprising. JT Poole, Ben Izenga also coming down with him. So the pace car lights are off. They're going to have to come in, get just the splashest of splashes of pit stops here on fuel, and try and get back up to that back of the field, because we're about to go back green. Bit of a risky move by some of them.
I like this move from Lorello. 40 laps to go. That's right on the edge, right? Because, he's going to use minimal amount of fuel under this pace lap, catching back up to the field. All you got to do is basically throw it into 4th, get it up to about 100 miles an hour, and then coast that thing, turn that sucker off. So I really like his position. I think 40 laps is right there. I don't think he's going to have to do much saving. But back up front, Paul Bilson, our race leader, leading them to the green flag here, as he is leading the number 98 of Jason Gracias, that white truck, and that green truck, the number 9 of Dave Harvey, and a great restart by this 51. And man, Peter, is this field shuffled up from these last few incidents.
Yeah, and here comes Jason Gracias in that number 98, already going for the race lead. There's some craziness happening a little bit further back. You see Ben Adams there almost grazing the outside wall. Oh, big wiggle out of the number 19 of Harvey. In fact, a couple of trucks with some big wiggles coming out of turn number 4. But for right now, Paul Bilson still holding on to that race lead, trying to pinch down the number 98 coming through turn number 4. Now we go through the dog leg. The 98 dropping all the way down to almost the inside wall. Still, Bilson trying to hold him off in the outside groove, doing a fantastic job in that gray, very patriotic-looking number 51 machine. And the 23 machine, Travis White, he goes around, trying to go through the 20s. There's a 23. No caution. There's a caution. Yellow flag finally waves here at Phoenix for that single car accident. Sorry about that, folks. Just I went to hit a 20 number and I hit 28 instead of 23, but we'll get one more look at that here on the replay. Just similar to what we've seen here tonight, just kind of goes around coming out of the corner and unfortunately just dings it off the inside wall and then dings it off the inside wall again and finally gets it back in the right direction. But cautions breeding cautions here, and now we know, Drew, at this point in time, we now know that pretty much everyone can make it the rest of the way from here. I expect to see pit road being a very busy place.
I agree, but if you're James Lorello, do you pit? To me, he is the only guy that I'm seeing that I think could stay out, because I think this puts him in a spot where he he could make it on fuel. And, I mean, he has, half a lap on his tires, basically. So I'm going to be interested to see what he does. I expect everyone else, though, to come down pit road. But I think when you consider the position of that 9 truck, where he's running in the championship, what he did just about a lap ago, I think that he's probably going to be the guy to stay out. I'm surprised more of these guys aren't pitting, actually. About only half the field came down pit road.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. We really have the number 5 machine, Ben Adams. You see Mitchell Adams also, the 33, Jeffrey Johnson Jr., the 50 of Bill Edwards, and also the number 7 back there of Garrett Gleason coming down pit road. So we'll keep an eye on them. Now, I do believe we figured out who our Lucky Dog Award is under this caution, and that is JT Poole in the 26 machine. Now, he was involved in an earlier accident here tonight, and that has mired him multiple laps down. But the good news is he's going to be able to fight with Travis White for that Lucky Dog spot, as he will now be one of only 2 trucks being scored a lap down. So we talked about how JT has had fantastic last couple of weeks here in the Simbox Truck Series, winning at Bristol and giving a little bit of a wave for the fans back at home. And here tonight at Phoenix, also quite a bit of speed. He was almost up into the top 5 before I think we saw Ben Mashburn spin coming out of turn number 4 there, Drew, and he got collected in that mess. But JT Poole here, we'll see if he can get another couple of cautions. He might be able to get back on the lead lap, and we'll see how far he can climb up through the field. It's been a kind of a wonky last 50 or so laps here at Phoenix.
Yeah, it's been a tale of 2 races within one race, right? Almost like they did reverse stages. The first one being the long one, and since then just basically caution after caution. It's almost like when these guys realized that, I mean, maybe, and this might just be me projecting this upon them. I haven't seen any communications indicating this, but it feels like when these guys started having these wrecks and realized, oh man, we got quick repairs, that it kind of changed the approach of these drivers in this race, and that's kind of resulted in quite a few incidents since then, and it's really shaken up this field. The guys that were so fast for the first half of this race aren't really in a great position right now. Jason Freeman led quite a few laps in 9th position. James Lorello, the 49 truck, all these guys are really scattered throughout. The only guy that's been one of those top contenders is that 98 of Jason Gracias, who's now our race leader, but he certainly hasn't been the favorite throughout tonight. He's just been the guy that's been able to maintain his track position out of those kind of steady top 5 through the first 80 laps of this thing.
Yeah, definitely has been a little bit surprising that some of our main contenders here tonight, Ben Izenga, he's led 46 laps. Jason Freeman, he's led 36 laps. So between those 2 drivers, you do the math, and they have led 82 laps here tonight, which has been, a good majority of the 116 that we have in the books. But now the 20 machine, he's mired back just inside the top 10. Now the 07 of Izenga, he's outside the top 10. So really the field has been shuffled up, and we're back to green. Oh, big stack up right around Ben Izenga, a little bit further back in the pack. You see a lot of damage on that truck. We'll go back and see exactly what happened here on this instant replay, but there was some significant stacking up going on this restart, folks. Watch this. Started with the number 20 of Freeman, and the 20 of Himmelman had to check up, and Izenga ran over Himmelman, and he got checked in the rear as well. And while we were watching that restart, we're back under yellow, Drew.
Yes, and now this means less than it would if there weren't fast repairs, but the 49 of Mitchell Adams arguably got the worst of that whole deal. His truck is fairly torn up, but he will be able to come down pit road and get that thing fixed up. But he's got to be pretty thankful, quite frankly, that those fast repairs are available, because this would completely change the championship if this 49 truck weren't able to get a reset. As you could, it's kind of hard to tell from the onboard, but that 51 came up into him in the outside lane as those guys checked up here. So we will get this replay queued up for you folks in just a second. You'll see that stack up, and then boom, the 51 turned into the outside wall on that 49, and that's a huge hit for both the 49 and the 51, and both of those guys will have to pit. But even with that faster pair, that 49 is not in a great position, as he is going to be essentially the last car on the lead lap between he and that 51.
Yeah, and maybe in the 50, if Edwards might have got a piece of that as well. But yeah, that was definitely a really unfortunate thing. I saw what had happened there with Izenga, but it really, the carnage happened back behind them. I kind of caught that out of the corner of my eye. I didn't realize that there was still stacking up to be had back behind them. So we'll see if we can go on board here with the number 51 machine in just a second. We'll roll the tape here, and there's the contact, and then I think it was the 33 Jeffrey Johnson Jr. who got into the back of him, and unfortunately just got hooked up there into the outside wall, made contact again with the outside wall in the number 51, but he's come down pit road, used that faster pair on that Chevrolet, getting back out there onto the racing surface. 49 machine of Mitchell Adams, he's coming back out in the racetrack. There's the 33 of Jeffrey Johnson Jr. He also got a piece of that. But up at the front, man, I don't know how this is going to work out for some of these trucks here up at the front of the field, Drew. Jason Gracias, David Harvey, it's been 18 laps since these guys were last on pit road. I just can't see them making it on fuel. I know they're wanting to keep this track position, but, you know, they probably got to think about pitting here in about 19 laps or so, and with the way cautions of breeding cautions, there has to be a certain point where you have to determine when do you want to use those fresh tires. Because if you bank on cautions breeding cautions, well, you might only have 10 laps to use fresh tires, and that's not going to be super beneficial. So I think these guys up at the front of the field, they're definitely making their bed, so to speak. I'm not sure if it's going to be a good call, bad call, but that's one of the fun things about racing. You just run your strategy, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, certainly. And our Brookstone Animal Lucky Dog Award winner, the number 26 truck of JT Poole, figured we'd get a mention in there. Fantastic job by JT to keep that thing out on track despite that earlier misfortune. A great job by JT. That 26, ton of speed. I know that he's kind of towards the back of the pack, but with the way this thing's gone recently, I would not take him out of contention necessarily, as we are reforming the grid here with about 29 laps to go here. And like you mentioned, Peter, we got some guys that are kind of doing some interesting pit strategy, to kind of phrase it in a certain way. I'm not really sure what the 19 and the 98 are going to be able to do here. Maybe they're just hoping that caution after caution after caution will keep coming out. But they're up front as of now, at least, and we'll see how this develops as that 98 gets another great restart on that inside lane. He will lead the field down into turn one here on lap 123 out of 150, and this thing is really, really closing in. You know, there is these kind of get out of jail free cards, but that track position is all important. And now we're seeing these guys race tooth and nail through 3 and 4, 3 wide, multiple lanes through 3 and 4, as these guys are really trying to get their way up through the pack. As the 20 gets dead sideways. Did he save it? The 20 did. Jason Freeman, man, I don't know if he made contact with another truck, but he got dead sideways. Doesn't look like any contact. That's a great job by Freeman to be able to keep that thing under control, but it did cost him several positions, and that's kind of put him behind the proverbial 8 ball there, Peter.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's any issues coming out of turn number 4. It seems like on cold tires it has been a struggle. Looks like everyone able to make it through this lap, but almost 3 wide again as the number 2 comes under fire from the 07 of Izenga. Izenga down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. Now all of a sudden Justin White in the 2 checking up the number 5 of Ben Adams. There's Mitchell Adams in the 49 as you see the blue cone go flying down the backstretch. That's not really what you want to see if you're a blue cone fan. We'll find out whether we have any fans of the blue cone in the chat here tonight. But up at the front of the field, Jason Gracias, David Harvey, they continue to lead with 25 laps to go. Up the top of the screen, you can see laps since pit. So you can kind of get an indication of where some of these drivers are on their pit strategy because, well, this is going to change everything because caution flag is out once again.
Yeah, we're looking at the 8 and the 28 getting together here, Peter, coming out of turn 2, and kind of some odd open wheel action going on there as the 8 just kind of got picked up with some door-to-door contact, though the 07 of Ben Izinga involved in that as well, though it looks like that engine was able to keep running in that 07 truck, so he'll be able to fix that thing on pit road. But, man, this is going to be a decent hit to the inside wall, and quite frankly, that 07's lucky to have not just completely blown that thing up.
Yeah, let's go on board here with the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman. We'll break this down. We'll go into slow motion. We'll try and figure out who the lucky dog's going to be under this caution. But watch him just kind of slide up the racetrack. And Jamar Dumas, I think he expected Dumas to be a little bit higher up the racetrack. And that's the type of situation where having triple screens can be extremely beneficial, Drew, or having VR so you can kind of watch where that truck is. Because look at all that room that the 28 machine is giving up there on the top side. The 28 is kind of pinching down up off the corner, and the 8, of course, is kind of naturally washing up the racetrack, and they make contact right there. And, oh, man, look at the 07 machine. Clip the 8 machine. Good job by the rest of the field to miss the 8 machine, who was spinning around right up there on the racing groove. But it doesn't look so bad in slow motion, but in full speed, that is a pretty significant lick with that inside wall. And for Izinga, his night has gone from bad to worse. Good news is he's down pit road right now, got that fast repair, so he will be able to get back out there. But we'll come into 22 laps to go, and Jason Gracias still electing to stay out and as your race leader in the Dunn Raceway Park, number 98 machine. Right at the front of the field, Dave Harvey there running second in the John Deere machine. Nothing runs like a deer, that's right. Very reminiscent there of the Chad Little scheme that used to be run back in the day in NASCAR. I gotta say, that scheme, when growing up, I wasn't a big fan of that scheme, to be honest with you, Drew. But nowadays, I look back at it and go, wow, that was one of the best looking paint schemes in the entire NASCAR field, and it's pretty cool to see Harvey running one of those kind of throwback schemes here tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I know when I was a kid, you're far more attracted to paint schemes than you are paying attention to actual drivers, right? And for me, it was the John Deere scheme and the Aquafresh car. Do you remember the silver Buck Jones car? Those were my two schemes that I mean, I didn't watch a ton as a kid. You just kind of, casually watch as you go about your hectic child life. And, those two would always catch my eye. But it is really cool to see that the kind of reimagining of that Chad Little scheme back on the track. But do you think these guys could even, best case scenario, we get caution, basically all the way to the end. Would these guys be able to make it?
Well, I think if we go caution to the end, I think they will be able to. Now, the golden rule, or the rule of thumb, whatever you want to call it, is you get about 50% of the laps that, or 200% of the laps that you get under caution. So if you have 10 caution laps, that means you get 10 caution laps free of fuel. So we know they pitted, well, I don't know, they still pitted with about 48 laps to go. So they need about 20 caution laps, Drew, to get there and in the final 48 laps. And I gotta say, they're kind of getting close. So if we can continue to get cautions like we have been, I think they're in with a shot here tonight. But if we have green-white checkers, I think that will be thrown out the window. I don't think they will be able to handle any green-white checkers. That's for sure. But if they can get some more cautions, maybe 1 or 2 more cautions here in the final 21 laps, I think that will put them in their window, and then they'll be looking like the smartest people in the field. There goes the pace car down pit road. Green flag back in the air. Jason Gracias gets us back underway. Look at Doug Milliner there in the number 6 Louisville Cardinal machine, right there in the 3rd position. We saw him a little bit further back earlier in the night, but he's now shuffled his way up inside the top 5. Same thing with Philip Scott and Nathan Maurer. Remember that 971 still has the fastest lap of the race here tonight, running right now on the inside of Philip Scott's number 44 machine. But good start by the 19 and the number 98 as, wow, those trucks just lunging towards that outside wall coming out of 4.
Yeah, we got 3 wide going into turn 1 and no contact between the 51 and the 28. And is that going to bring out a caution? It will. That The 28 and the 51 ultimately got together. The 07 put him 3 wide, and it's so hard to make that work. That 51 took a huge hit to that outside wall. And so we're talking about, Peter, there's so many trucks left here late that this is just kind of, it's not surprising that once this started happening, it's going to continue to happen because there's no attrition. You're not kind of thinning the herd, to use kind of an unfortunate analogy, that you're not getting rid of a lot of these trucks that's causing this kind of congestion. I don't think that it's necessarily any one or two drivers that are causing these problems. It's just that you have so many trucks that are all healthy, that are all relatively similar on pace, that you're just going to have this stuff happen when you have this many healthy trucks together that can race with each other this hard at this point in the race.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, we'll see if there are any takers on pit road this time. I'm still not seeing any. So looks like we will go another couple. We got a couple. The 33, the 2, the 28, the 84. TJ Buck back there. Paul Bilson's going to come down, get some of that damage repaired from that. We'll get all that damage repaired. There's no getting some damage repaired here tonight, folks. You just come down, you get it all repaired in one fell swoop with the good old fast repairs. Dirt Dogger 93 saying Santa really isn't real. Well, I think Santa is real. All these drivers are getting lots of Santa presents here tonight. They're all getting these fast repairs. I mean, that's just what's happened here tonight. Santa keeps handing out these presents, and those presents just so happen to be another click of the box that allows you to do a fast repair. As you see Robert Dudley heading back out there onto the racetrack, but definitely hasn't been the cleanest last half of the race here, Drew, but we often see that when fast repairs are a thing. We got Carlos Acosta in the chat saying, don't forget the gaming carpet. That's what gets you wins. I'll tell you what, you always have to have some carpet. Also saying, what if you have 2 thumbs? I have 2 thumbs. I can count them. 1, 2. Does that make me a winner, Carlos? Tana Himmelman saying that the 8 of Andrew Himmelman has a curved monitor. So I think that's one of the things that, I mentioned that sometimes you need triple monitors, but a curved monitor nowadays, if it's wide enough, you can get some really wide aspect ratios. That can also be extremely beneficial. And we got a lot of people in the chat here tonight. I need the gaming door. We need the gaming door. Okay, Carlos. I'll go try and buy a gaming door. Do they make those? I know IKEA's about to come out with a new line of gaming products. Maybe they'll have the gaming door. We'll figure that one out. John Deere Racing for the win. Mike Floppy Tellier in the chat. Mike, you're not out there on the racetrack here tonight, or were you already? And your night's already done. I think you did have a race tonight, didn't you, in one other series? So, Mike, let us know of how your night went. I'm curious to know, as we're just now hitting the 10:36 Eastern time slot. And but the front of the field, it is still the number 98 and the 19. The big question: can they make it on fuel? We go green flag to the end. Questionable. We get another couple of cautions. I think they will be able to make it. Mike Tellier ran P3 tonight. Congratulations, Mike. Good job. Podium finish. That's always a great way to round out your night. But here, Drew, 14-lap shootout. And Jason Gracias, David Harvey lining up the way they have for the last couple of restarts. They've been doing a good job of getting off the line and getting off into turn number 1 in the first 2 positions. We'll see if they do it again here.
Yeah, certainly the 98 has been doing such a good job on these restarts. Not been really mixing it up, just nailing it every single time. We'll see if that 19's a little more prepared this time, as the 98's tended to go fairly early. He did this time as well. Maybe a little bit better restart by that number 19 of Dave Harvey, but just not quite enough to be able to stay with him. But it's what can these guys do behind him is maybe a little bit of contact between the 6 and Nathan Maurer. They're going into turn 1, and that's going to maybe open the door for Morello to take it 3 wide, potentially not quite. Though Jason Freeman is making some ground up here as, James Morello gets into Nathan Maurer. Will Maurer be able to save it? He does, but that allows the 20. And on the inside, and there goes Nathan Maurer into the outside wall, and the 15 collects him, and another caution.
Caution flag. on the replay, going off into the corner. Look at Freeman there digging. There's the nudge. The back end of the 971 starts to get a little bit loose. He straightens it out, but just got a little bit behind on the steering, and unfortunately that was enough for him to hit the outside wall and watch the number 15 machine right there. Robert Dudley, kabam. There's the number 51 of Bilson, kabam. There's the inside wall with the 62, fwabam. Wow. And that's a tough break there for Ullery, because Ullery was in the spot to be able to get the Lucky Dog Award, and you see all the craziness. He's down there on the bottom side of the racetrack, and oh man, all of a sudden the track is filled with Paul Bilson, and it hasn't been Bilson's night here tonight. He's been collected a couple of times here tonight at the racetrack. This is what your leaders wanted to see. Now I think they're good to the end. I think this will get them into their window, as we'll get one more look. The number 2 machine here getting on the brakes and able to slice his way through it. That, of course, is the number 2 of Justin White, who's been up here in the 3 Wide TV booth before, done some commentary. But we'll have to re-rack him again, Drew.
Yeah, it's certainly been an interesting last 50 laps, I guess. The aggression level. I don't think we've seen a race with this level of aggression level here in the Simbox Truck Series. It's just, I think guys know there's only 2 races left in the season. And this feels like as wide open of a race as we've had because of the rash of cautions. And so I think guys are just trying to make it work when it probably shouldn't be forced, right? Like they're forcing situations that I don't think are very plausible that could actually turn out in the way that would, be beneficial to any of the parties involved. But it's just kind of a product of just kind of what's unfolded, and it's just like a self-feeding beast that the good old racing saying that cautions breed cautions. There's just so many trucks close together that think that if I make this move, I could set myself up to get this race win. That's just kind of been a product of what's happened.
Yeah, that is definitely a product of what has happened here tonight. The pace car lights continue to stay on here, folks. So really want to appreciate each and every one of you. We're up to over 10 likes here tonight. So if you're watching right now here on 3 Wide TV, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. And I'll see if we can push a little bit higher on the likes. Of course, want to get as much recognition for the National Sim Racing Association and the Simbox Truck Series. Now, folks, if you're interested in buying a button box, make sure you check out Simbox. Their link is in the description, facebook.com/SimboxPC. The series sponsors this year for the Simbox Truck Series. Great to have had them on board. In fact, speaking of Simbox there, Drew, the number 77 machine, Doug Neal, he's inside the top 10. He's going to be the 4th truck on the outside line, restarting here in the 8th position. We'll see if he can get himself a little bit further up through the field. I'm just keeping an eye on some of these drivers, maybe on fresher tires. I mean, our front 4 drivers, I should say, they haven't been on pit road in 36 laps here tonight. Now, we've had a lot of caution laps in there, but, just thinking about it, maybe we'll start to see some of those fresher tires start to actually pay dividends here over the closing laps. And that might be why we've seen all these caution flags. But the pace car is about to come off here, Drew.
Certainly is. The 98 for the 1,000th time tonight will lead into the green flag. As great of a restart as we've seen from that 98. I'm interested to see what that 20 can do. He's been so quick all night. This is as close to the front as he's been since he's had quite a few incidents under in the last few cautions. Of note, the number 9, James Zorello, placed at fault for that last caution. He, our 2nd place driver in the championship, got an end of longest line penalty, puts him at the back of the field for this restart. And this is big, Peter, as we only have 8 to go now, 7 laps to go, or 8 laps to go here, as that number 98, Jason Grassi, is doing a fantastic job, though a little high there, as maybe the 19 trying to catch him is quite a bit of, we got a big wreck in the middle of the field, the number 2, the number 77 all involved, and that's another caution.
Well, let's see if we can break this one down. We were just talking about Doug Neal in that number 77 Simbox truck right there. Comes out of the corner. Ooh, the 8, the 50, and the 77 comes down across the nose of Andrew Himmelman. The 84 getting involved. Wow, the 2 got shut up the racetrack as well. Right in front of Robert Dudley. Man, Dudley, he must feel like a pinball here tonight. Looked like there might have been something else that went on a little bit further forward. We'll see if we can dial up this replay for you one more time. So there's the 8 and the 77 kind of coming across. There they go spinning, and 77 of Neal hits the inside wall. There's the number 15 driving away from it. We'll get one more look. Let's see if we can keep an eye on what exactly happened here with the number 15 machine. They were almost 4 wide there, Drew, up ahead. You see Andrew Himmelman, he's kind of holding his line, but the 77 kind of chops down, which is a tough break for him. There goes the number 8, but that number 2 machine with a heavy hit. And wow, that's Bilson there. Did Bilson somehow squeak through there, or was that net code? That might have been net code with Bilson just squeaking through, and then there was some contact. Let's go on board with the 51 here, Bilson. Slow this down. There goes the number 2. There's the number 50. Oh, yeah, that's clearly net code. But something else happened, I think, with the 26 and the number 5 up in there. There's the number 5 of Adams. Ben Adams, I should say. He had a little bit of a moment. So let's see what happened to Adams. There's the initial contact further back. And then JT Poole gets into the left rear quarter panel. Oh, gets into Ben Izenga as well. Izenga has locked up the most laps led here tonight in that 07 machine, but my oh my, there was almost 2 accidents in one there, down the backstretch and off into turn number 3, but things are looking better and better for the front few. Now they're just going to have to cross their fingers, Drew, and hope that we don't see any green-white checkers here tonight at Phoenix.
Yeah, it's certainly shaping up that seems to be a real possibility, as these guys just can't seem to get a few laps in before the field starts to spread itself out. It's just been restart after restart for the last few laps, so to speak. But, you know, David Harvey and Jason Gracias maintaining those top 2 spots. The number 44, Philip Scott, doing a great job in 3rd position, with Doug Milner in the top 5 as well in 4th. And then that 20 truck is the one that I'm really keeping my eye on. We've seen so much pace out of Jason Freeman. I'm sure he's like, hey, man, can we just get 5 laps in here? Because I'm really quick. I feel really confident that 20 thinks he can win it from 5th position if he just has enough laps to be able to get by those guys. I mean, he's going to have to average a position a lap, which is so tough to do here at Phoenix. But we've just seen Jason Freeman that is do those pretty incredible things here tonight with the amount of pace that he has. But you know, it's all up to the field around him as to does he have that opportunity.
Yeah, Jason Gracias in that number 98 machine, I'm sure he's thinking that he might have just had a win handed to him on a platter here tonight with the way that these caution flags have come out late in the race, but we're still a couple laps away from it. There will be 3 laps to go here at Phoenix International Raceway, ISM Raceway, whatever you want to call it. I call it Phoenix. That's what I know it by. And that Ford Mustang pace car going to head down onto pit road. The number 19 machine, David Harvey, to the outside of that Dunn Raceway Park Chevy Silverado. Then you got the National Ninja League number 44, Philip Scott there in 3rd. The 6 of Doug Miller and Jason Freeman there in the number 20. He's led a good number of laps here tonight as we're working our way coming out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air. The field gets rolling nice and neatly. Drew, 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and the 98 got the exact restart that he needed. What can the rest of the field do? Can they keep it going in a straight line? That's been the struggle as of late, as now we got 3-4 wide going through the dog leg, though everyone's keeping it cordial thus far. But the 98, not without a challenges. Oh, the 50 gets caught up in it, and that's going to be a caution. And now, Peter, can the 98 and 19 make it? Because this certainly will be a green-white checker.
That is going to be a very interesting question. We will go into overtime. Let's see what happened here. The number 50 of Bill Edwards had the number 33 right behind him. They go off into the corner, boink, and the 50 goes around, gets clobbered there. I think, was that the number 15 again there, Drew, who got involved in that one? We'll see. We'll slow this down. Yep. Robert Dudley, man, he has had a target all over that number 15 truck here tonight. It just doesn't seem like we can have a caution flag without Robert Dudley getting a piece of it. But unfortunately for that number 50, who comes into tonight as the second place driver in points, quite a few markers back behind the number 49 of Mitchell Adams, who will all but lock up the points title if he finishes exactly where he's running right now, up towards the front of the field. Definitely going to be an interesting finish for the championship here tonight if everything goes like it is right now. Of course, we talk about provisional points as they run and all that type of thing. It's never over till it's over, because we've seen bad luck strike with our top contenders here tonight, Drew.
Especially now. There's no time at this point to recover. The 50's kind of in a bad spot. It's going to take a lot of cars wrecking just for him to have enough time to make it through the field, right? Like he could be the quickest guy on track by several tenths. And, if this thing doesn't have another yellow fly, he would probably still only gain 2 or 3 spots, just because it's going to be really difficult to make that ground up. With basically 2 laps of green flag racing potentially left. But if something were to happen to say Mitchell Adams or the 9 or something like that, I mean, they might be able to get their trucks repaired with the fast repairs that we have here tonight. But they're not going to be able to regain the track position that they're running in currently. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the 49 decides to approach this, how guys that maybe haven't had the results that they've wanted throughout the season, or guys that have, right? But the guys that have less to lose than the 49, right? Doug Milner, the 20, our 2 leaders, the 44 of Philip Scott. None of those guys have a lot to lose. They're not racing for anything, versus they're racing one guy who is now he's not the race leader, but he's in 6th position as Mitchell Adams. That he's kind of the guy that is, at least what I would do is he's going to have to be the guy that kind of is a little differential relative to the guys around him, because he has a lot more to lose in this deal than anyone else in the top 15, right? James Lorello's down in 16th position. The 50 truck is going to be the last truck on the lead lap, down in 19th. But the 49 just needs to keep kind of finishing ahead of those guys in order to position himself really, really well next week at Chicagoland. Versus all these other guys around him, they don't really care about any of that stuff. They're just trying to go grab a win.
Yeah, and I think the number 49 machine of Mitchell Adams, remember, you got that win earlier this season at Kansas. And we know that Chicagoland is very much like Kansas. So that will be something we'll have to keep an eye on. Now, the front few trucks, the number 98 and the number 19, they think they have enough fuel for 2 more laps here around Phoenix International Speedway. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that's true or whether they will run out. They're trying to really push the tank. Green flag waves once more, and already Jason Gracias, JG as he is called by Chris Darling in the chat, out to an early jump. David Harvey drops down to the bottom side of the racetrack. He's going to block the number 20 of Freeman. Now all these trucks hoping to get back to the start-finish line to not see any more yellow flags. They're working their way through turn number 3 and 4. Everything's nice and smooth for now. The white flag is in the flagman's hand. They will take the white flag here. 1 more lap to go. All is looking good for Jason Gracias.
And they're typically, I have never seen it, are not cautions here on the last lap, but Dave Harvey is all over the back bumper of the 98 as we got some spinners throughout the back of the pack, but we're still going to focus on what's going on up front, because that 19 truck of Dave Harvey is not letting that 98 go without a fight. He's going to take it to the high lane out of turn 4. I don't think he's going to quite have the run. He tries to turn the 98, doesn't get it done. The 98 of Jason Gracias will win here at Phoenix. A great job saving fuel, saving tires, and putting himself in a position to grab the win tonight.
Yeah, we'll get one more look at that finish. The 19 of Harvey did everything he could, tried to get to the outside, smacks it off the wall, and almost came down into the 98. Wouldn't that have been something, Drew, had they had it coming together? And Freeman might have been able to scoot on through, but Freeman was actually able to take the position from Philip Scott, and he was able to come home with a third-place finish, and that is a really good job by the number 20 machine. You see just how excited the number 20 was to give a little bit of a congratulatory bump to the number 98 machine, and the number 49, Mitchell Adams, going to finish with a top 5 here tonight. That will all but do it for the Simbox Truck Series Championship. I think all he's really got to do is take the green flag this time next week to be crowned the back-to-back Simbox Truck Series champion. But let's see that number 98 of Jason Gracias light him up here on the front stretch here at Phoenix International Raceway. Gonna go around backward, do a little bit of a Polish victory lap here on 3-Wide TV. Folks, what'd you think of that finish? I was a little bit concerned Gracias was gonna run out of fuel, but it looks like he's even got enough fuel to go backwards an entire lap here, Drew.
Yeah, I was worried as well that both the 98 and the 19 would run out and potentially take several other drivers with them. But as we're seeing, the 98's not worried about fuel. He has plenty to go around, and just a great job by Jason to put this whole race together. A bunch of chaos throughout the second half of that thing, but one consistent thing. One consistent fact was that 98 being our race leader, and he did what he needed to do to grab this victory, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see if trying to see if we can get some post-race interviews for you folks here tonight. Trying to see if we can figure out where the second place finisher David Harvey might have ended up. Not sure. Not seeing him currently inside the Discord here tonight, so maybe we'll only get first and third, but we'll see if we can get Philip Scott, maybe our fourth place finisher, as well as Jason Gracias continues to burn it down here on the front stretch. But Drew, why don't we start with Philip Scott? We'll let you take it away with the driver of the number 44 machine finishing in the fourth place here tonight. And there you go, Drew.
Philip Scott, Drew Eisman up here in the 3-Wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, man.
Well, quite a chaotic second half to that race.
Yeah.
Give us a breakdown from your perspective as to how that whole thing unfolded.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It was just a lot. It was pretty chaotic. What's funny is I was actually thinking about just sitting this race out. I just didn't really feel like racing tonight. And then I thought to myself, like, I might as well. And so I did, and it was quite a lot. Early on, I was shocked how long it went green at the start. I was good through the pit cycle and everything. I mean, I kind of started, kind of fell near the back for a little while. It was a bit far back, and then I started to gain spots through the pit cycle. I was pretty comfortably in the top 10 at that point, and then all the cautions started to happen over and over. And then I just started to get myself back up into position. At one point I went a lap down for repairs, and because I went into the pits because I was afraid my engine was going to blow or something out of my control. And so I was a lap down, then I had to fight for a lap down. I thought Dave Harvey was a lap down still too with me, so I was blocking him, doing all this crazy stuff in the middle of the field without like any even though I was like the only one a lap down, and I was like comfortably in the lucky dog position, but I wasn't paying attention to that. Then I got the lucky dog, and then I pit, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time I pit after I got the lucky dog. So there were a lot of cautions. I was making sure to clutch and coast and stuff, and took care of my tires early on at the end there. And just I'm really good at I really like, as Peter is well aware in TNR, very much am pretty good at short runs. I'm terrible at long runs, so it was all those restarts definitely suited me. I did quite a few slide jobs trying to go on the inside in the 3 and 4 and stuff, go right down to the apron a bunch. It's just my type of track, and just got myself up there into position, and it was super fun being up there. This is actually my first top 5 of the season, so I've had a few good runs this year, but then I'd like mess up near the end of the race, and glad it was kind of the opposite today, and I got to get a top 5 finally here for the first time this series.
Yeah, and you drove a heck of a race. How was the truck handling tonight? We saw drivers get tied out of turn 2 and turn 4. We saw guys getting loose. How did the truck drive for you?
It was pretty loose for me. I was sliding a lot, but I like loose, so it wasn't too much of a problem. A lot of people, I think I was a little. I must have not been too loose though, because I was feeling pretty good going all the way down below the yellow line in the 3 and 4, trying to like defend and stuff, and that seemed to work pretty decent. So yeah, I was hoping I could get a better jump on the restart, but the Jasons are obviously good buds, and so they were working, of course, together to get that restart going good. And I just had I was kind of boxed in, so I had no choice but to just stay behind the 20 and try to fend off the 49. But I'm very happy with how it went today.
And looking forward to next week at Chicagoland. Are you planning on running that race? And if so, what are your thoughts going into it?
Yeah, I'll probably run it. So I think what'll be interesting is the next race. I wonder what will happen with if we're going to have any like physics updates or anything March 9th when the big patch is coming out. So I wonder if that'll change anything. I saw in the forums that they're close to fixing the dynamic track model. I saw from like an iRacing staff member on the forums. So that might be something. I don't know I doubt it'll be in this patch, but who knows? I really like Chicagoland. I'd like it more if it worked more like real life when it was like 3 grooves and stuff. But nevertheless, it's still a very fun track on iRacing, and draft will absolutely be key, and tire management. So I'm really looking forward to what I can do next week. I'll try to stay out of the way of the championship contenders. If it's, I don't know the situation up at the front, but I'll try to stay out of the way. But if there's not too much, if it isn't like Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards in 2011, I'll still go for the win. I don't care.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your first top 5 of the season, Philip. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course. My sponsor, full disclosure, my employer, National Ninja League, biggest Ninja Warrior obstacle course league in the world. Just announced our World Championships. We are going to host it this end of June, early July. We're going to host it as safe as possible. We're going to have each division 1 day, every stage, every skill, and it'll be a lot of fun. 8 long days of broadcasting. I'll be there doing all sorts of stuff. I do graphics. I wear many hats in the league, so you'll probably catch me on camera once in a while.
Well, absolutely, Philip. And thank you for talking with us tonight, and congratulations on your top 5.
Thanks so much.
All right, well, folks, we're going to dial up your third place finisher here tonight, Jason Freeman in the number 20 machine. Jason, what a wild night it was for you in the number 20 machine. You looked so strong early on, then got caught up in a little bit of a collision there with Ben Izinga in the middle portion of the race, and really just wasn't able to make the full comeback, but a strong recovery nonetheless to finish third. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be happy with that. I definitely wasn't the quickest truck tonight. I mean, I think we were a second place truck, but got up there. Clean air definitely made a difference. We got out front, led some laps, and I think if we would have had some long green runs and could have stayed up there, I think we'd been all right. But that one caution we had, some couple guys stayed out, and I knew I had to get to the bottom as soon as I could, or I was going to get freight trained on that top. The opening presented itself, so I stuck it down in there. But I think it was a chain reaction event, so everyone getting into one got tagged and went to the back, and luckily through some restarts there, made our way back up and still be able to put it back on the podium. Kind of sucks. I mean, I set on the pole at Bristol, was fast there. I had some issues on pit road, and then California is fast and lost that one on fuel strategy, and fast again tonight. So hopefully we can back in the victory lane here soon.
Well, nonetheless, like you said, you did have a hot rod here tonight, led 36 laps around this mile racetrack. And, you know, you weren't here at the beginning of the season, so there's no opportunity for you to walk away with any top 10 finish next week. But you got to like your chances going into next season and what will be the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series here in the National Sim Racing Association.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I think we can definitely contend for some wins. I got hooked up with a charter there, so I know I'll be in every race, but I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to make every race. Once summertime comes, I got some cornhole tournaments I'll be playing in here and there, and going to some real life racetracks here locally with some friends. Usually we go out, tailgate, and hang out. So, and then with a newborn baby at home, it's kind of difficult, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jason, that number 20 looked pretty darn good out there tonight. Of course, Camping World on it rather than Mason-Dixon Cornhole. But I know next week we go to a 1.5-mile racetrack, Chicagoland, usually one of the favorites in iRacing. What are your thoughts about Chicagoland?
I'm pretty excited to go there. I think it's going to be more about tires, saving tires. I think the trucks will probably be pretty much flat out there. So it's going to be hard to pass once tires wear out. So it's going to be key to qualify and get up front and stay up front.
Yeah, that it will be. It's going to be a fun one here on 3 Wide TV. Jason, before we let you go, you got any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, I got to give a big congratulations to my teammate, Jason Gracias, for the win. Chris Darling for the league, NSRA, one of the most fun truck series I've got to race in. Got to give a shout out to you, Peter. I was on an 8-year-old PC with a ancient graphics card, and you hooked me up with a guy named Hacksaw PCs. So he built me a massive computer that's running awesome. I'm able to start streaming. So anyone watching, go check out Mason-Dixon Racing Esports on Facebook. Give it a like, share, and a follow. Trying to build that page a little bit and just share with my experience on iRacing, how cool it can be, and get some more people involved in it.
Absolutely, Jason. And I'm running one of them Hacksaw PCs myself, and great sponsor of one of the other series that we broadcast here on 3 Wide TV. So make sure you check them out. But Jason, thanks for stopping by here tonight in the 3 Wide TV booth. Congratulations on your third place finish, and we'll see you again next week to round out the Simbox Truck Series Championship at Chicagoland. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Well, our second place finisher here tonight, David Harvey, we'll just give him a little bit of a shout out here tonight. Started inside the top 5, came home second with that same strategy call than what we saw out of our race winner, Jason Gracias, who we're about to talk to here in just a quick second. But Harvey held his own there towards the end of the race, and picking up second spot is fantastic for him. Another podium. He's had a couple here in the NSRA Simbox Truck Series, and only a couple of starts. Already starting his Simbox Truck Series career nice and quickly. But now we're going to go down to Victory Lane, where Jason Gracias has gotten the trophy, and Drew Eisenman has caught up with him. There, Drew.
Hey, Jason. Drew Eisman up here in the 3 Wide TV booth. You got a copy.
Loud and clear.
Outstanding. Well, you did what needed to be done tonight. Both Peter and I were wondering if you were going to be able to save enough fuel there to be able to make it to the end. You definitely did. You had enough to do some celebratory burnouts and kind of a quasi Polish victory lap. How did that whole race unfold from your perspective?
So going into this week, I had pretty high hopes. Earlier this week, me and the Lights Out Esports boys did a league race at this track over in the ESRA. So I had some track time in it beforehand. So coming here, I knew if I applied what I learned in that race to here, I'd be good. I kind of screwed up my qualifying lap. I should have been tracking for a 0.3. I had a 0.4, so I started a little back in the pack. So I had to deal with traffic. I would like to apologize to Nathan again. I got to check the replay, but from what I've been told, I washed up into him, kind of took him out early. So hated for his guys, but it looks like he rebounded to at least race in the top 10 towards the end. But overall, good race. I try to keep it clean. I love being on old tires. I wish there was a racing series where you could just race on old tires and have fun, because I think that suits my driving style. But all in all, I'm glad it worked out for me to get the win here.
Yeah, and kind of talk about that race winning strategy of staying out. How concerned were you that your fuel would become an issue and that you would be able to make it? Because both Peter and I were very doubtful that you could, but obviously you ended up making it. What went into that kind of calculation as to that strategy?
So before the madness started, I think we went green at laps 75 after a caution, and I did the math, and my window opened up between laps 95 to 105. And if I short pitted there at lap 105, I would have been good to make it. So having all these yellows definitely helped the fuel strategy, mainly because I was able to shut the truck off down the back straightaway, shut the truck off in the turns, and keep it at fourth when I had to get in the gas to save fuel. So it worked out. It was getting kind of dicey at the end. I checked my fuel calculator, and on that last restart, it said I had 27 laps left, but those are caution laps. So who knows if it was 10 laps, how much fuel that would have been? Maybe it would have been real close.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the chaos of basically the second half of that race. What do you think contributed to that? Was it the driver's mindset? Was it just there being that many trucks left? The quick repair being left on for tonight. What do you think contributed to that level of chaos?
It's a combination of things, right? So there was two races left in the season going into tonight. Now there's one. So a lot of guys want to end the season on a high note. So at this point, it's let's see what I have. Let's try to get to the front. Let's end the season on some momentum so we can carry it into 2021A. Phoenix is pretty good in terms of a track. It's a mix between a speedway and a short track. It's pretty flat. So if you're able to, hit your marks, you can be pretty fast. I think in practice, the difference between first place and last place was a half a second. So if you think about that, it's a pretty equal playing ground all around. And plus, with restarts, everyone's on equal tires, so it's an equal playing field. So with fixed sets, you really got to maximize what you can do, when you go to the green. So a lot of guys are trying to take advantage of that, and it worked out for some, didn't work out for others, and some were just, unfortunate bystanders to the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about next season. What are your plans for next season? Are you planning on running full time? Making the races when you can. What's your plan?
Right now, everything's up in the air. With COVID, I have more times on Friday to spend, racing with these guys and a couple of friends. But we'll see what 2021A has in store. As of right now, I'll plan to make as many races as I can. I know I have a lot of vacation time scheduled throughout the summer, so I won't be around as frequently. But my goal is to hit at least between 60 to 75% of these races.
Outstanding. Well, we're looking forward to watching you. Congratulations on your victory tonight. Before we let you go, let's hear those shout outs.
Yeah, just thankful for everyone who makes this thing possible. Thanks to Chris and the admin team here at NSRA for throwing this league together. It's a really well run league. Uh, it's firm but fair. You don't get that a lot in different leagues. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to Simbox Trucks for coming on for this season. Um, thanks to the TNR guys. For racing. I think we had a TNR top 4. Johnny, Sim Racer Johnny, threw together a beautiful truck, with Thornton Graphics and done Racing Park on the hood. he does a lot for the TNR guys. So I'm happy to get this truck in the victory lane as a thank you to Billy Thornton for all he does. And thanks to you through ITV, Peter and Drew, you guys do an awesome job making these broadcasts entertaining to watch after the races are done. And I look forward to 2021A and all the fans in the chat. So I hope we can carry this momentum into next season and just have fun.
All right. Well, thank you for talking with us tonight. And once again, congratulations on your victory.
Yeah. And one more shout out. I got to give a shout out to Jason Freeman. He had talked me off a ledge a couple of times on those final restarts, keep me calm, cool, and collected. So I appreciate the words of advice, Jason. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you once again.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for our post-race interviews, Drew. So there's only one thing left for us to do, and that is to go through tonight's final race results. And taking home his first National Sim Racing Association Simbox Truck Series win, Jason Gracias here tonight at ISM Raceway, Phoenix Raceway, whatever you want to call it. David Harvey coming home in second. Another strong finish for that number 19 machine on the podium again tonight. Jason Freeman, teammate, finishing there right behind him in third. Philip Scott, pretty much your top four drivers are all Total Nonstop Racing League drivers and all kind of working out on the same strategy with one another to finish inside the top four. Mitchell Adams there finishing inside the top five. He's all but a lock for the Simbox Truck Series title. In fact, he will go back-to-back pretty much by taking the green flag in the next round at Chicagoland. Same time, same place right here on the channel next week. JT Poole coming home in sixth in the number 26 machine with Doug Milliner, they're finishing in seventh. Jamar Dumas in eighth. Quite a comeback for that number 28 machine. He was involved in quite a bit tonight. Same thing with Nathan Maurer back behind him in the 971. TJ Buck there kind of got shuffled back a little bit late in the 84 machine, but he's going to come home with a top 10 there, Drew.
Absolutely. Paul Bilson will finish 11th. James Lorello, not the night that 9 car needed. He is going to have an exceptional Chicagoland race in order to get himself in a position to possibly win the Simbox Truck Series title. Ben Izinga, so much speed in that 07 truck. Unfortunately, he'll bring it home in 13th, quite a few spots down from where he ran for at least the first part of the race. Doug Neal brought home that number 77 truck in 14th position. Bill Edwards, another championship contender, not having the night that they needed. He finishes in 15th position. Garrett Gleason in that 7 truck brought home 16th position. Robert Dudley seemingly involved in every wreck tonight. He will bring home 17th. Ben Adams, another eventful night for him as well. He brought home 18th. Jeffrey Johnson Jr., a decent result for that number 33 truck in 19th position. And then Colin Olery in that 62 truck, the only truck finishing one lap down, will round out our top 20.
And rounding out your field here tonight, Danger Himmelman, who did a very, very impressive double barrel roll on the front stretch, ended up there finishing 11 laps down. Justin White also finishing 11 laps down with him, 22nd spot. Travis White, 23rd in the number 23 machine. Chris Darling finishing 80 laps down. Ben Mashburn finishing 87 laps down in the number 24 in the 25th position. Stephen Dozier and Matt Vanderkoy, both of those trucks not seeing the green flag here tonight. And, of course, Ben Izinga led the most laps. But we do have to, of course, give away our biggest mover of the race award. And here tonight, that is going to go to a couple of drivers. In fact, it's shared here tonight between the number 77 of Doug Neal, picking up 11 positions from his starting spot, as well as Doug Milliner in the number 6 machine. So they're going to have to fight it out for the Taz Racing Customs award. And if you were to give it to the highest place finisher of the two, it would fall to Doug Milliner, but we'll let them squabble over that one. But folks, if you're interested in getting a custom diecast, whether it be an iRacing car or whether it be some other type of the custom diecast, make sure you check out our friends at Taz Racing Customs because they can give you the hookup. And awesome to have them as a series sponsor here in the National Sim Racing Association. But Drew, only one race left in the championship, Chicagoland next week. I'm looking forward to it. I love Chicagoland. Fast 1.5 mile racetrack, a lot of side-by-side racing. Should be a good one.
Yeah, expecting a little bit different tone to the race next week than what we experienced here tonight. It's typically not a track that produces the really close kind of chaotic racing that we saw here tonight at ISM, which is absolutely a product of kind of how this track races. I'm expecting a lot more of a long-term feel to next week's race, but that doesn't mean it's going to be any less exciting, and I'm really looking forward to watching.
I am as well. Big shout out to our friends over at SimTV for the camera angles each and every week, as well as Simbox, the series sponsor here in the Simbox Truck Series, as well as everyone else who makes this series possible here on 3Y TV. But for myself, Peter Short, Drew Eisenman, have a good week. We'll see you the same time, same place right here on the channel. Make sure to hit a thumbs up on your way out. Hopefully you enjoyed the broadcast, and hopefully I can talk next week as well. But for all of us back here in the 3Y TV booth, have a good night, and we shall see ya!